They say, oh, it must be 10% of the American budget, it must be 5% of the American budget. It's around 1% or less. A penny of what tax dollars you send down to Washington goes to help us make sure that around the globe we're countering the hard power of some countries with the power of our light and our soft power. We have been the envy of the world, where people see and know how special America is because we live the value of every major religion, that we're going to love our neighbors, we're going to be there for you in your times of need. And we all know, with a terrorist group from far away to the most horrific attack, that in a lot of these countries, terrorist groups are trying to counter the democratic governments there. Look in the Sahel region. Look what's happening. When I was in Nigeria, I was shocked to say what they're talking about: instabilities in the north, the threats of terrorism in the north. I'm going to go for 7 more minutes and stop, but I want to use these last 7 minutes to return one more time to the people of my state and actually other states who demanded we do things different, who asked for help. Before I do, I just want to thank Mike Lee today. He's my partner in antitrust, a specialty of my friend Amy Klobuchar. And I don't know if you got my text, but you got it, where I said to you, I'm kind of going to the floor to hold it for as long as I can. And I may not make our first subcommittee together on antitrust, where we have a lot of common ground. So I'm sorry I missed it today. I know you'll fill me in, but I know my friend filled in. Thank you. So I want to close back where we started, about us, about why I'm here. I believe that there is an urgent crisis in our country that we are not talking about. It's not a left-right crisis, it's a right-wrong crisis. It's a moral moment, and again, in America, that's going to define our character, about who we are and what we stand for. There's a threat to the bedrock commitments we've made to each other as a country. People are threatening that bedrock commitment of Social Security. They're calling it a Ponzi scheme. They're making up absolute lies about it. When I read American after American who said that that is their lifeline, they told stories that if they don't get their Social Security payment, or they get caught up because nobody's answering their calls, if the rural Social Security office, I read states, red and blue, where they're closing Social Security offices, if I now have to drive not 100 miles, but 150 miles at 93 years old, it doesn't quite make sense. One of my colleagues stood up here and said, that's already cutting benefits if you can't access the folks. I stood here because there's a threat to these bedrock commitments. The bedrock commitment we've made in healthcare in this country. We won the defense of the Affordable Care Act, but my colleagues know when you start talking about Medicaid, that's not 20 plus million Americans. It's 70, 80, 90 million Americans. It's our elders in nursing homes. It's our children with disabilities. It's our moms giving birth that are still giving birth in the country with about the highest maternal mortality rates in the industrial world. It's a moral moment. Who do we stand for? Like Schumer shocked me when he said they're going to use some kind of budget gimmick to push this through. He shocked me, Chuck. I thought this was going to come down to the parliamentarian, but it doesn't sound like it now. It's just going to get done. With the math, and I read from Manhattan Institute criticized it on the right. AEI criticized it on the right. They said, what are you doing? What are you doing, America? You're going to rake up trillions and trillions of dollars in debt that our children and our children's children are going to have to pay for, passing the bucks that will grow. Are you doing that to help people get more access to health care, more access to retirement security, more access to the things we believe in, big ideas like universal child care, paid family leave? No, we're doing that in order to renew the tax cuts that I read conservative budget folks, moderate budget folks, all across the spectrum who said it will blow up our deficit. And the benefits of those tax cuts, not all, let's not use hyperbole, But most will go to the richest people in our country, who I promise you, I celebrate people who've brought their ingenuity and their expertise and their grit and their tireless work, who've built wealth in this country. Should not be us versus them, but I'm telling you that those folks do not need another tax cut. And the corporations who came here, you all remembered, said we would like a 25% rate. The people I read said that when we kicked it to 21, not even what they were asking for from 35, it exploded. One of the main reasons it exploded our debt. And we read from conservative groups who just said all these promises that we would grow our way out of our deficit, they didn't materialize. All the promises that were made. Trump, for those who don't remember or weren't here when I read it, was going around telling folks that, oh, my tariffs, this is 2017, my tariffs, the money that I get, that will be what we could pay down the debt. The math that they did was that would account for about 1/750th of the debt at that time. But he used that money to try to compensate the farmers that he was hurting with his tariffs. This is a moral moment, and people are getting hurt, and people are afraid because of the threats to Medicaid cuts. There were people writing in and said $880 billion would devastate me, but even small cuts to services, my whole family, fragile architecture of our finances, if you just pull out the transportation money that my disabled child uses, that will crumble my financial world. And so when you talk about the bigger cuts, we know the math. Many states who expanded Medicare have a trigger that if it goes below 90%, all the Medicare expansion goes off in that state and millions of Americans will be hurt. That's not right, guys. That's not right. And so this is the choices we have before us. Our veterans and the VA. I'm mad at you now. You made me get very emotional with your story. We read John McCain's story. We read the stories of the poems of the unknown soldier looking over us and saying, what are you doing to the Gold Star families? What are you doing to the veterans? Are you living up to your promises that you made? Well, right now, with the cuts of tens of thousands, over 80,000 veterans who work for the VA, but even more, because about 20% or so of all federal workers are veterans. And we read stories from veterans in America who are shaken by what's happening, who are losing their jobs, but yet all they want to do is serve. They're not what they're being called. They're not leeches. They're not criminals. They shouldn't be degraded for wanting to continue to serve their nation. This is what we're talking about, our veterans, our seniors, our healthcare, our financial security going forward. I asked the question to all those people who voted for Donald Trump, who believed in him that he would lower your grocery prices. I asked you, look at your financial self. Are you better off than you were 72 years ago financially? Well, the answer for most people who believed in him is no, because he didn't set out to do anything to lower prices. He set out to rename the Gulf of Mexico, to threaten Canada, to say, I'm going to take over Greenland. He's done a lot of things, 140 executive orders. Many of them actually drive up your costs, make it more expensive to enroll in the ACA, reduce a lot of the tax credits there. He's increased your costs, taxed your bedrock services, stock market tumbles, your 401k accounts are less, inflation is up, consumer confidence is down. This is what the voices we brought into this chamber, the voices of our constituents, red states, blue states, the voices of Democrats and Republicans, Republican governors, Democratic governors. We brought all the people that are saying, no, this is a moral moment, not left or right or wrong. And so I've tried over the last 25 hours and 1 minute to center the conversation back on what will we do of good conscience. People who are saying, I serve this country, I risked my life, shouldn't be able to keep my job. People are saying, this country once made itself the envy of the world because we invested in high quality education for every child. I don't like what's going on at the end of the Department of Education. People are saying I worked harder than I ever have, but the prices on everything in my life are getting higher. People who are saying that the America I learned about in school, the one where people's rights are protected, the people are saying that why are we yet again going through another healthcare battle that threatens millions of people, the people are saying that I'm worried about the financial security and the future of my country, the voices of folks. And so I end by saying simply this, where I started was John Lewis. I don't know how to solve this. I don't know how to stop us from going down this road. Chuck Schumer's now told me that they're greasing the skids to do these things. I'm sorry. But I know who does have the power. The people of the United States of America. The power of the people is greater than the people in power. It is time to heed the words of the man I began this whole thing with, John Lewis. I beg folks to take his example of his early days where he made himself determined to show his love for his country at a time the country didn't love him, to love this country so much, to be such a patriot that he endured beatings, savagely on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, at lunch counters, on freedom rides. He said he had to do something. He would not normalize a moment like this. He would not just go along with business as usual. He wouldn't know how to solve it. But there's one thing that he would do that I hope we all can do that I think I did a little bit of tonight. He said for us to go out and cause some good trouble, necessary trouble, to redeem the soul of our nation. I want you to redeem the dream. Let's be bold in America, not demean and degrade Americans, not divide us against each other. Let's be bolder in America with a vision that inspires, with hope that starts with the people of the United States of America. That's how this country started. We, the people. Let's get back to the ideals that others are threatening. Let's get back to our founding documents, that those imperfect geniuses had some very special words at the end of the Declaration of Independence. It was one of the greatest in all of humanity declarations of interdependence. When our founder said we must mutually pledge to each other, our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. We need that now from all Americans. This is a moral moment. It's not left or right, it's right or wrong. Let's get in good trouble. My friend, Madam President, I yield the floor.
In the morning when I'm driving, I really come alive when
Thank you to
I
the
listen
pages,
to
thank you to
my
the parliamentarian
Ronnie,
staff,
I
thank you to the
listen
clerk,
to my
thank you to the
Ronnie
doorkeepers.
Q.
There are so many people that make this place special. I kept you up all night, kept you up 24 hours. I just want to say thank you. Thank you, everybody.
They are rare and they are few. Who can compare with Ronnie Q? So grab a chair, she's coming
Madam
through.
President.
She's on
Madam
the
President.
air. It's time for Ronnie Q. They are rare and they are few. Who can compare with Ronnie Q? So grab a chair, she's coming through. She's on the air. It's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie in the morning while I'm driving. Ronnie, I really come alive when it's time for Ronnie. I listen to my Ronnie. Ronnie, I listen to my Ronnie. It's time for Ronnie Q.
Hey y'all, what's going on? Thank you all for being here. I thought that there was no better way to start the morning. Grand Rising, Saucy and Rascal, and Renee said Grand Rising. Good morning. And Renee, they're just sitting up here looking at me, girl. Hey Voodoo, Grand Rising. Hey Tebe Forever, Grand Rising. Bernice, Grand Rising, no pressure, Grand Rising. I hope you guys hit the like button on your way in, and I hope you guys took the poll. So we got to start off. I remember when I came on yesterday morning, I was wondering, I didn't have a chance to do anything but, come up here and, hit my buttons and get my stuff up. And I was wondering if Cory Booker was still live, and I can't remember. I think it was Renee, but someone was like, yes, he was still going, and So I was glad to hear that. I kind of figured once he was live yesterday that he may break Strong Thurman's record when of 24 hours and I believe 17 or 18 minutes when Strong Thurman held the floor to it's just it's just something to understand that he spoke for 24 hours and 18 minutes to oppose affirmative action. And then the person who beats him is a black man who was allowed a chance because of all of the voting, the protesting, uh, the little gains that we earned as black people in this country, was able to break his record, and he wasn't trying to separate us. He was trying to divide us. It wasn't about color. It was about what America pretends that it is about. So I remember, I think it was Monday, that I was just so disgusted. I was just like, where are all of the rest of our elected leaders? And then it was really BTV. Thank you, M. Renee. I was on Monday, I was like, where are all of the rest of our elected officials? And so Cory Booker stood up. And he stood up and he stood up. He stood in the paint. So I think what do you guys think about that? I'm going to give Cory Booker a round of applause personally. What do you guys think about that? I don't know if it'll help. I think it couldn't hurt. I think it never could hurt to see that somebody is just not going to lie down like Chuck Schumer did. Um, so, you guys have no thoughts on that? Okay, so what's good? I get a round of applause. Thank you, and Renee. Yeah, I do. I think he deserves that. It was just so many high points. The link for his full speech is in my description box. If you guys haven't seen it, it's a 25 hour, 4-minute speech is what he did. So, what else? Well, that's what I do with my time. These are the things that are exciting to me. I thank you guys for being here. Let me share my screen. Oh, don't forget to hit the like, take the poll, and my goals are if you have learned anything new, you're more than welcome to help me reach my goals. My goals are only to let you guys find something that may have been obscure in the media. Let me see. I think, is this? Yes, this is what I want to show you. 25 hours and 15 minutes. Okay, thank you, M. Renee. I said 25 hours and 4 minutes because of the video that I was watching, but thank you for correcting me. It had a clock up there. So thank you for correcting me. So this is right after he got, let me make sure it's showing. This is right after he left the halls. Let's see.
Weary and tired, but I'm enormously grateful for a lot of folks who sent me their very, very personal stories It gave me a chance to speak to the pain, hurt, fear, anger, demands of a lot of Americans. I'm so grateful to a lot of my colleagues and a lot of the help that people gave me to do this. I didn't know how long I could go, but I'm so grateful that I lasted for 25 hours.
Senator Booker, was it your goal coming in to speak longer than Strom Thurmond? And a question that a couple people have is, how do you maintain stamina? How did you not have to use the restroom for 25 hours?
Yeah.
Did you find a way to use the restroom? Can you talk to us about that?
A few things. One is I was very aware of Strom Thurmond's record since I've gotten to the Senate. I always felt that it was a strange shadow to hang over this institution, that the longest speech, with all the issues that have come up, all the noble causes that people have done, or the things that took to try to stop. I just found it strange that he had the record. And as a guy who's grew up with legends of the civil rights movement myself, my parents and their friends, it just would seem wrong to me. It always seemed wrong. I had this hope that Chris Murphy would do it, actually. So I definitely had it on my mind. But as Chris and I joked, I'm 9 years older than when he and I did it for 15 hours, and my back was sore and my legs were hurting. So I just didn't know if I could. So I didn't want to set any expectations. The mission was really to elevate the voices of Americans, to tell some of their really painful stories, very emotional stories, and to let go and let God do the rest.
And your stamina.
Oh, I'm sorry. I talked to a lot of people. I copied some of the things we did for 15 hours. So I fasted for days into it. I stopped drinking water a long time ago. I think that had good and bad benefits. I definitely started cramping up from lack of water. So if some of you really drink nothing, in the end, I was just trying to do something to stop my muscles from cramping. So there's just a lot of tactics I was using to try to make sure that I could stand for that long.
Senator, I don't know if
all of that,
you all
Senator, do you feel like after all of this that your speech moved the needle in any way? And do you think Democrats should employ this tactic going forward to protest the Trump agenda?
I just finished. I haven't had much time to digest or think about it. I think that, and you guys have written about and talked about it. There's a lot of people out there asking Democrats to do more and to take risks and do things differently. To seem like the right thing to do. And from what my staff is telling me, a lot of people watched, and so we'll see what it is. I just think a lot of us have to do a lot more, including myself.
Senator, I was going to say, I don't know if you've seen the reaction you've gotten, but millions of likes on TikTok. There are people outside this building with signs praising you for what you were doing. So can they expect more of this from you? Is this the future of Democratic resistance in the second Trump administration?
I don't want to speak for Democrats. I speak for myself. My team and I have really been struggling in this period. Democrats have to own up for a lot. I think that we've contributed to where we are. I'm not just talking about losing an election. I'm talking about a lot of the ways that the partisan politics of this country have worked. And we should be stepping up and saying we accept a lot of responsibility for this moment. But we also have a lot of responsibility for meeting this moment. And so my staff and I have talked a lot about other things that we can do to contribute to the larger cause of our country right now. And I'm hoping that, especially social media, you all know that's my responsibility with the caucus. I want to think creatively and listen to my constituents, and I felt a lot of them really pushed me to do this, and I was glad that we were able to tell a lot of their stories.
Okay, so the rest of the interview is here. Now, somebody just asked him a very personal question about, how could he bear? He already answered that question. Grand Rising, Madison. Grand Rising, Queen Diva. Thank you guys for being here. So that video is also in my description box, and he had so many letters from some of his constituents. He read some people like really like it made the message really hit home. So after this election cycle, I remember I believe it was in February. Was it in February when someone won a Pennsylvania House seat that had been a Republican seat since the 1800 and something, had been a strong 1800. Always listening while I'm getting dressed. Thank you, Queen Diva. I appreciate that. Hey, Sandy. So, and then in March, we had the win in Wisconsin. You guys know that I was talking to you. I was playing videos to you about how badly the muskrat wanted to win in Wisconsin, and he paid $20 million of his own money to promote the candidate. And he also tried to buy the vote by alerting the people that he would be in Wisconsin on Sunday to give away $2 million to whoever voted. And then I didn't know, this is a caveat of the story. And then who took it to court? Then it was taken to court because paying to gaining anything for voting and offering anybody anything for voting is illegal, and they wouldn't take up the case. But come to find out, you know why they wouldn't take up the case? Because the case went to the woman who was his competition. That's why they wouldn't take up the case. I think her name is Mary Crosby. She won the race in Wisconsin nonetheless. Now, somebody had a good question. They said, well, do you think a Republican wouldn't have taken up the case? They said, Democrats need to learn how to fight the way they fight. It is, in fact, illegal to offer someone something for a seat. But you know how these Republicans are, they dirty up the stuff so badly. So what she did, she recused herself. So and I don't know why it didn't go to someone else, but I know it did go to her, but she recused herself from making a decision because, of course, it's a conflict of interest. Seems like conflict of interest don't mean anything in 45's 47's term in the White House, but she recused herself and she went on to win the race. I think it was something like 53 to 42, 55 to 42. So she smoked him, actually. She actually smoked him on top of it. So that was 22 million that the muskrat spent. And come to find out why it was so important. They say that Wisconsin has been so gerrymandered that, even when a Democratic congressperson wins, there's still more Republicans in charge because the districts are so gerrymandered that it's hard for a Democrat to get more votes than Republicans in that whole state. Okay, so that being said, it's so important because she actually, I believe, in the Supreme Court, give them more Democrats in the state Supreme Court. So that's why it's so important. And they can address the gerrymandering of the districts and all of that, because that is allegedly something that they have coming up. Hey, Angela T. White, Grand Rising. 57, thank you. She had 57 and he had 42, I believe. Good morning, Ronnie Hugh, and everyone in the chat. I'm listening while preparing for work. I appreciate it. So that was a good one fight. I don't think if that had I don't think if that had been a Republican, he wouldn't have made the call and said, no, George Soros, he can't give $2 million to people because they vote. And then he had to actually change the post. He wrote that on X. He had to change it to anybody who signed his petition. But what are you doing in Wisconsin trying to influence? That's all that was. You're trying to influence the vote. So you know why? Because he has a case that is pending and that may actually be upon the Wisconsin Supreme Court. That's why he was so interested. You know, kind of like he had all of these cases and investigation in Washington, D.C. from all of these D.C. agencies that he shuttered and fired all the people from because they were investigating him about all of his businesses. And most of these entities no longer exist now today. So it's never about the people. It seems it's always about him. Jexy 3000, I appreciate you giving me that information. So let me go on to you know, I get this together at nighttime. So forgive me if I forget sometimes why I want to share these things with you. But let's check this out. I think we saw this one already. Nope, we haven't seen this one already. Okay, let's check this one out. If you haven't subscribed to Brian Tyler Cohen, you may want to check him out. Good content that you may miss that is going on because the for-profit media don't cover a lot of these stories. So those who say they watch the news, I feel for you.
Elon Musk's best efforts to quite literally buy a state Supreme Court seat in Wisconsin, the liberal judge, Susan Crawford, has defeated Trump hanger-on Brad Schimmel in a race that commanded the attention of the entire nation. This race was crucial for two reasons. First, it keeps the liberal bloc in the majority on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. That means that the fair maps that were finally instituted in the state will remain in place. And fair maps mean that Republicans cannot gerrymander themselves into power, which means that the people of Wisconsin are protected from, for example, extreme archaic laws like the 1849 abortion ban, which Republicans would have immediately enacted had they gotten the chance to retake control. The downstream effects of Brad Schimmel winning this race would have been cataclysmic. And so at least for now, the very concept of democracy has been staved in the state of Wisconsin. But there's an equally important implication here. Elon Musk had been using this race as a test case, wherein he dumps millions and millions of dollars into the state, including in the form of literal $1 million checks to bribe voters to participate in the Wisconsin Supreme Court election, knowing full well that if this strategy worked, he would export it to the rest of the country. He already did it in the presidential election, but he's now trying to learn whether or not he can do it in every state across the country. Wisconsin was the proving ground for him. And at this point, Republicans were all but admitting it. This was Trump's transportation secretary, Sean Duffy, just days ago on stage alongside Elon Musk at his rally in the state of Wisconsin.
Unacceptable in this great state. And we have Brad Schimmel, who believes that the law should treat everyone the same. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, he's a fair man who's going to impose the law in a way that treats everyone equally, which is what we want as conservatives. And so what you all can do, by the way, are you all going to vote or have you voted? You guys all voted? Okay. You look like a pretty lively group, so I imagine all of you at least have 5 friends, maybe 10. Get your 5 or 10 friends to the ballot box on Tuesday. And if all of you do that, you get your friends to the ballot box, because this is a low voter turnout election. Bring your friends, bring your family, and if you all turn out on Tuesday with your friends, we are going to win in Wisconsin and send a message to the radical left. Don't mess with Trump, don't mess with Doge, don't mess with Elon, and don't mess with Wisconsin.
Okay, so Grand Rising, Kings Mina. So what message was delivered on yesterday, Mr. Duffy? What message was delivered in the real world yesterday, Mr. Duffy? What message did you get out of this? They expected it to be a low turnout vote, kind of like they expected it to be a low turnout vote in Louisiana on Saturday. They caught the mayor of Shreveport. I said Monroe yesterday. Shreveport, and the House Speaker Mike Johnson, who is also a politician that came out of Shreveport, saying, he was asking, what do you think the turnout would be? He said about 18%, or maybe we were thinking 12%, but it may be up to 18%. See, this is what they were counting on, that people would ignore the vote, kind of like Florida people who brag about not voting. I guess they thought that was going to be a thing, because Louisiana does have a low voting turnout during presidential elections as well. But the people have been spurred on after living less than 100 days in this administration. See, the people, some people, I would not say all, I will say some people have caught on to what their dangerous, draconic plans are. All of the setting backs of civil rights, of women's rights, up and into allowing segregation for companies that are awarded contracts through the federal government. No reason. Segregation is illegal, but so what was the reason for saying that he took back the executive order that said that there can be no segregations in people who are awarded government contracts? I think it was just to let you know who's in this administration, the wizards that are yielding power in this election. So they got a little too cocky, a little too comfortable, and people showed up to elections, and the measures that after they realized that he was on a hot mic, who do they come have slithering out? None other than 50 cents. And now he comes and thanks the community, do a whole message and telling the people why you ought to vote on this amendment because it'll bring money back. And the only thing that amendment was going to do was going to tax people more and give their riches to the richest of the people. The richest of the people who lived in Louisiana. He said it was going to give teachers a raise, but it was a one-time block payment that the teachers would have gotten, according to Gary Chambers. If you didn't watch my video yesterday, go check it out. Gary Chambers broke it down. And what happened? all 4 of the resolutions that they had. He said, don't come in here separating these amendments and getting people confused, vote on this, vote on that. This amendment don't do anything for us. And 50 Cent, of all of the amendments you could have spoken on, you just got to Louisiana. And you don't speak on any other thing about politics, but you just speaking on something that's going to put money in your pocket, how you going to benefit as a rich man. And you telling people to vote on something that's not going to benefit them at all. And then there was an amendment on the ballot. It was 4 amendments. They were telling everybody to vote no on all 4 of the amendments. And one of the amendments were that the laws would change about how they would be able to charge 14 through 16-year-olds as an adult. It also would open up more areas that they could prosecute these 14 to 16-year-olds as adults. They could also put heavier charges on them. But 50 Cent said nothing about that amendment. And so therefore, Gary Chambers was out there loud and proud. They got the message out, and all 4 of the amendments lost, I believe it was by 62%. The people showed up and they showed out. So I'm glad Wisconsin sent the message back. They aren't for sale. 50 Cent and his damn chiclet teeth need to sit the fuck down. Yes. So 50 came out there in a tight Gucci blazer. And he said, now 50 Cent, he said he is a new business owner out there. He's leasing a new production studio, which is good that he has a business out there. So I think this is his second one. So he has a 45-year lease on it. If it brings jobs, great. But I don't know why you are looking for tax breaks when you know it's going to come off the backs of Black people. It's just crazy to me. They had 2 seats. I don't know they said that they have lost special elections in January, February, March, and April. The one yesterday would be upset elections. I know about the Pennsylvania one. I know about the ones in Louisiana. I know about the one yesterday. I don't remember the ones in January and February, these special elections. So they were getting so nervous. They had 2 elections in Florida, but the people didn't turn out for the Democrats in Florida. Of course, we know how those Florida people are. So they did not win those 2 seats, but those 2 seats, 45, 47 had won their districts like 30 points. So the people who were running against the Republicans in those Florida districts, they cut their win was within 15 or 16 points last night. So they did cut the margin down quite a bit. I remember the one guy, I think his name was Wise or something. They cut the percentage of the win down by half. So let's hope that more people aren't like Florida and more people show up and vote these people out. People think that my vote don't mean nothing. Everything is no. One vote could be the deciding factor. So let me see what else I wanted to share with you. I also wanted to share something with you from this event. from this actual event, but it's not on that video. So let me go on. Now let's get into Elon Musk event. Since we left off with Duffy at Elon Musk event, I told you on yesterday how Elon Musk was at his event where he gave people $1 million lying to the people. He put up this chart, and I talked about this chart on my live yesterday morning, and he stood up there with this chart, and he brought a friend out, and he said, do you see this chart? Do you see something how something increased on this chart? This chart is for the people who are not citizens who have social security numbers. And you see that one chart that Musk is standing in front of is like a big spike. But you have to remember the three graphs before them, that was during COVID. So a lot of people were at home during COVID. He omitted that. That was in 2021, 2022, and 2023. It started spiking back up because people started getting new jobs in 2023. And then in 2024, everything definitely was all open. So these are people who are not citizens, but are working in the United States. And to work in the United States, you have to have a Social Security card. Why? Because they allow you to work, and they're going to take their taxes out from you. So he put this up under the guise of these people have Social Security cards, so therefore they are going to get Social Security. But we already know a great portion of them may be sitting over there in El Salvador prisons. We're going to talk about the El Salvador prisons as well. So they do pay taxes. Yes, they do get special Social Security numbers indicative that they are not citizens, that they do not get any Social Security if they still here when it's time for them to retire. I tried to explain that yesterday, and then so have it someone else wanted to explain it as well, who can probably explain this a little bit better, who also found it peculiar that Musk tried to sit up there and present this as if these people were going to be getting Social Security payments back. Here we go.
About people with legal status in this country. There's more fraud and waste than just putting on that show that they do there. There's certainly fraud. And here is some of the fraud right now. They are lying about Social Security numbers. They're pretending they're talking about undocumented immigrants. They are talking about people with legal status in this country.
Hi, I'm Brett.
And
Hold
I'm
on.
Jonathan. This is Darla. And this is Buddy.
I think so. Does it work? I can give you mine.
We found the fraud. Here it comes. Oh, this is, he's on the stage. Keep it going.
It'll be okay.
Antonio Garcias.
I mean, Buzz Aldrin's still alive, and he went past the bells. It worked. It's working? That's yeah. There you go. So, Antonio, can you tell us what you, Antonio's helping out with the Social Security. So just trying to review Social Security, where you may have heard that we found 20 million dead people marked as alive in the Social Security database. This is so crazy.
Pause it.
And then
we've already debunked this.
This is completely a fabrication. It is a lie. They're not marked alive. No. How did you find those 20? How did you find those 20? Or did you say like, oh, 150 years old, they're obviously not alive? These are not people, incidentally, who get payments. There's just like no reason to go and pull them out and expend resources on that.
And the 150-year-old thing that they keep returning to is Elon being just lying. He's lying to the public because he has some familiarity with coding. He's not the greatest, but he has some familiarity. And COBOL, when there is an incomplete data and missing with the year that is in the input, they put that set year, which
They
makes
default to like 1875 or
they
something.
default to that year, which he's now claiming is instances of people receiving fraudulent Social Security checks, even though that's quite obviously not what the data system says.
So that's why he's very careful to say there's 20 million dead people in the system, but he doesn't claim they're getting payment.
He doesn't claim that they're getting payments on that stage that day because it has already been debunked. But when he first came up with that lie, he presented that lie as if these 150, 200-year-old, 300-something-year-old people were actually getting payments. So he can't say that lie anymore, but he can't resist from saying that there are people in the Social Security system with that are 150 years old. You know why? Because they have no one from their family have presented a death certificate to Social Security. That's why they still are in the system. But you can't lie and say they still getting checks. Let's get to the point where I wanted to about the.
So he knows he's lying, but he continues on.
So crazy. And then you'll notice there's a strange trend here where how many
Go back a
Security
little
numbers
bit.
were
I think-
issued.
okay. All right, now they're going to show that there were more Social Security numbers issued in 2024 than in 2021, when we weren't letting legal residents into the country, when nobody was traveling into the country because of what was that? COVID.
Global pandemic. Remember that?
Yeah.
Californians hear a lot of excuses from elected officials.
That's a complex problem.
You may have heard that we found 20 million dead people marked as alive in the Social Security database. This is so crazy. And then you'll notice there's a strange trend here where how many Social Security numbers were issued. Do you want to?
Yeah, so let me tell you what happened here. We started at the top of the system.
You want to talk about a lot of it?
We started at the top of the system, mapping the whole system of Social Security to understand where all the fraud was. And there's a lot of great people there that showed us really a lot of waste. And so that came up with a big list of stuff they're working on. You've heard some of that already, but this is what jumped out at us. When we saw these numbers, we're like, what is this?
Okay, so I have a question. This is another Indian man. You know, the only people that Elon Musk thinks that should have visas and they work for him and they're his friends and because they can get him money and he can pay them stagnant wages. I don't know who this guy is. This seems to be one of his counterparts. So, sir, do you have a Social Security number? Let's continue.
In 21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
Yeah, just
pause. I just want to be very clear here. Non-citizens does not equal undocumented immigrants or illegal immigrants. There is something in between. That is people with green cards. That is people who are here on temporary work visas.
How about H-1B visas like Trump and Elon Musk?
They are not citizens, but they must pay taxes.
Some of the people on that chart could be that guy on the stage trying to say that, oh, look, under Trump, it was so low. Yeah, because millions of people were expiring from the virus under Trump. People were at home under Trump. People weren't flying in under Trump. So that's what it's supposed to. But look up under Biden. Look at how it skyrocketed.
They're not eligible to get things like Social Security, but they've got to pay taxes. So it's a complete what that graph shows is free money for the government.
In fact, you could argue
Free money.
that these folks are helping, fund Social
That's what I'm
Security
saying. Free money.
in ways that, like, actually it has delayed what we've needed to do, which is to raise/eliminate the cap on taxable income so that wealthy people start to pay their fair share to replenish the trust fund.
It's free money.
Yes.
It's free money. They
Actually,
pay taxes.
Immigrants are helping billionaires not pay more or millionaires into Social Security.
And the Social Security numbers that they get are issued through a specific program where they can't get money back for those Social Security payments. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
Yeah, just
get a good look at that chart, folks, because we're going to take a wider view of it in a second.
this literally blew us away. Like, we went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident. And this isn't political, by the way. My parents are immigrants. Yeah, this
as stupid as you?
My brother's sister all born in Spain. I'm pro legal immigration. This is not political. This is not political. This is about America.
Oh my God.
They are such unreconstructed liars. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Make it easier to
Either these guys are the stupidest people alive, or they are just impressively just willing to lie in the same way that you and I breathe.
Okay, so the rest of that is in my description box. Go check out the rest of that. Now let me share this with you. Since we're talking about the muskrat and the things that he has said, the lies that he has said, I'm going to bring you back. Let's go back. Let's go way back. Okay. Here we go. You guys may remember this.
Just cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone that's 150? I don't. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. So, that's a case where, like, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous, one of the two. There's crazy things like just cursory examination of Social Security. And we've got people.
So that's when he first came out with the trying to get you to believe that these people were actually getting money. He put it out that way, and then he continued to repeat it. We remember 45, 47, also repeated it when he addressed Congress. So what's the real thing? Let's dig into these claims. Here we go. They've been dug in a million times before.
Several claims that 150-year-olds are receiving Social Security benefits. Since those records are private, it's not possible to independently verify his claims. But the CBS News Confirmed team did some digging, as they do. Let's bring in CBS News Confirmed executive editor Rona Tarrant for more. So, Rona, what was your team able to find here?
So, as you said, Elon Musk did not provide evidence that 150-year-olds were receiving Social Security payments. So the best we had was the Office of the Inspector General. Now, good news for people who don't know this, the Social Security Administration actually has its own Inspector General, whose whole job it is to go through its records and see if there's fraud, waste, abuse. So first off, is there fraud, waste, and abuse in the agency? Yes, they did a report basically looking at 2015 to 2022, I should say. They looked at all of the payments and they found that less than 1% were overpayments. So this was payments to people who got more money than they should have gotten. So not a huge amount percentage-wise, but still $72 billion, people can argue. The other thing was, how many people can we see in the system that are over, 100 years old or 150 years old? Now, we couldn't find any evidence of payments to 150-year-olds from these reports.
Okay.
There were about 19 million people back around 2023 who were born in 1920 or before who didn't have death records in the system. So they just weren't updated for whatever reason. Now, 44,000 of them were still receiving payments. But there was no evidence given that any of them were 150 years old. Now, crucially, there is an automatic system within the Social Security Administration. They started bringing this in a few years ago. When you reach 115 years old, it cuts off your payments.
What could Elon Musk?
Okay, so he didn't understand the coding method, Cobalt, allegedly. So he also said that they are going to rewrite the whole system in Social Security. So they don't even understand how to read the system, allegedly. So therefore, they're going to rewrite it. How? What do you mean? So if you don't understand how to read it, you're rewriting it in your own vision. You can't just recopy it and put it on Java as it stands because you don't understand how to read it. Okay. That's something else I wanted you to see. Hey, Black Pearl, Grand Rising. Okay. Anything else you guys want me to talk about? Anything else is on your minds that you want to talk about? I don't want to leave you guys out of the conversation. So feel free. Oh, I forgot to play one about the Milwaukee win. Let me share this with you.
For now. Wow. I'll see you again tomorrow. Now it's time for the last word with Lawrence O'Donnell. Lawrence is back just in time. Lawrence, we missed you so much.
Well, Rachel, it is so great to be back. And this result in Wisconsin is a huge, huge defeat for Elon Musk, who, as we saw, personally went full cheesehead, thinking that's how to appeal to people in Wisconsin, and handing out those $1 million checks, literally trying to buy the election, physically doing the buying on TV. So this is just a huge setback for Elon Musk and therefore for Donald Trump.
When I first saw the news at the end of last week that Musk was going to not just put his money into this race, but that he was going to physically go to Wisconsin, do a campaign event, do this stunt where he pays voters and do this whole thing again, I thought, that is great news for the Democrats. Because there are few people in American public life who are as underwater in terms of the way the American public views them as Elon Musk is. But seeing the way that Mr. Musk behaved in Wisconsin, seeing the way that MAGA media portrayed this as something that was actually going to help that candidate there, I started to wonder, maybe I'm looking at the wrong polls. Maybe they're seeing something else that I'm not seeing. Maybe Elon Musk is going to help this guy. But this is to have this margin within less than an hour to have this call within less than an hour of polls closing with the kind of margin it looks like it's going to end up there in Wisconsin. This is just a kick in the proverbial teeth to the White House and to Mr. Musk.
I had certainly been told not to expect a call before 11 p.m. And therefore write as much TV show as you want because, you're not going to have the breaking news moment. And it turns out I didn't, you did. And that's important too, how quickly, and this was called, which is to say how decisive this win has to be at this point.
That's exactly right. And this is going to.
Okay, so you can see the rest of them chatting it up about the unexpected time in which this election was called. It was called at an hour after the polls closed. That's when the election was called. I was on the internet, and my husband had turned on CNN, of course, and they were still going back and forth about the election. And then I was sitting over here watching my people that I usually watch on YouTube, some of the videos that I share, please, you may want to go check out their old videos as well and see if you like these people. I was sitting over here and I said, "Oh, she won. They called the election and she won." And he was like, "No, they didn't. They didn't call it." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, they're calling it. She's won. She won." I forget who exactly I was watching. So then about a half hour later, CNN called it. And then I told my husband, see, I tell you all the time, you get all of your breaking news from me. So you may want to go check some of these people out. Very, very interesting stuff. Now, let's talk about the oops that I sent someone to this El Salvador camp that I knew was not supposed to go, but oh well, it's nothing I can do about it now. So they had this guy who came here from Venezuela, I believe, in 2014, and he was seeking asylum, and they gave him some special ruling that he could stay here. And then down years later, someone accused him of being in oh Lord, hold on. Apologize. So then my dog's giving me the blues. Okay, so then somebody said that he was in the MS-13 gang, and based upon his what clothing he had on, some I think it was his baseball cap. He had on a certain baseball cap and a hoodie. And so, of course, they believed that this person was telling the truth. So when he went to court, the judge said, "Are you crazy? What are you talking about? You don't have any evidence of him being in a gang. You haven't presented any evidence of him being in a gang." So he stayed on the initial hold that he was on, allowing him to stay in the States. This is not somebody who hasn't gone through the course, and the court said could stay in the States. So then he was going to pick up his child and come back. I apologize. So they picked him up. And then he said, "Hey, I got this special something something, and I am here legally." And then the police said, "No, that's been lifted." And then they arrested him, and they took him to the El Salvadorian prison. But in fact, that had not been lifted. It was still on his record that he was in the States legally per a judge. So now they find out and they go, oops, oh well, it was a clerical error. I apologize. Okay, so where was I? So they arrest him. They lied to him that he's in this prison. They said, "Oh, sorry, but there's nothing we can do now. If you guys would have came to us and let us know, and like, how would they come to you and let you know? And how could they come to you and let you know when you guys weren't giving up any information? And when you were told to turn the plane around so he could get his due process, you guys refused to turn the planes around and allow that to happen. And then once you were asked, were the planes still flying when you guys did not turn them around or did not return those people, you said that you you guys said that you were using some type of executive privilege that you guys could not disclose to a FISA judge why you guys took him. So they did everything, and they still haven't addressed why they have taken them, but they have an injunction that they cannot take any more people there. And when they got the injunction from the judge, he gave them so many days to come back and answer his questions. When the planes left, when did you guys know the order? Well, he knew they knew the order when they were in his chambers, but they are trying to they just said so many lies. Well, we were waiting on the written order, and we were in international skies by the time we got the written order. So what? So you are still under the custody of these people who are allowed due process. And then it got, well, we can't disclose why we kept going. So they still haven't answered, but they had the chance to go to an appeals court on a judge when he had a hold on them. They didn't wait until the hold was over. They went to an appeals court, and they got the same answer from the appeals court judges. 2 out of the 3 appeals court judges said that they were in the wrong. So this may go to the Supreme Court, but the only answer that they can give his attorney is that, well, we can't get him back and we have no authority over there. Can you imagine? Just scoop up somebody for absolutely no reason. Now, hey, Queen, Akasha? Is it Akasha? Okay, so just scoop up somebody saying that they are in a gang and lying to them and telling them that, no, you don't have the permission to be here in the United States, which he told them he did have, and just saying, no, it had been revoked. So what revoked it? The fact that you picked him up? Is that what revoked it? So now they realized they fucked up, and they said, oh, it was a clerical error. So it was a clerical error. So then you would not believe the buffoonery that they have been saying since they realized that they messed up. First, J.D. Vance came out with a lie. Well, he was he has been convicted of being in the MS-13 gang. And then he tried to go back and change his tweet to something else, but he still had him in the MS-13 gang. He has been convicted of none of that. And in fact, the judge said about that they sound ridiculous, even trying to bring that to his courtroom, having absolutely no proof other than someone saying that. Okay. Then you have the idiot bitch comes out, the spokes liar. I would say the spokesperson. The spokes liar comes out, and it's not like he was some fabulous father. He has a special needs son he was on his way to pick up when he got picked up. It's not like he's some fabulous father. I don't know how she would know that, but that's what she said. And she also said that he was involved with human trafficking. And I'm just like, well, God, even J.D. Vance didn't say that. So let me, but prior to that, I also want to, I told you that they are taking visas based upon what they find in your YouTube accounts, not your YouTube accounts, in your social media accounts. So this is on the behest of Marco Rubio. So Marco Rubio is quite proud of the things that he's doing in that arena. Rubio boasts of canceling more than 300 visas over pro-Palestinian protests. So they call them, Secretary of State called those with revoked visas lunatics, as video shows mass immigration officials sweeping people off the street. The U.S. State Department is undertaking a widespread visa reviews process, revoking hundreds of visas and placing hundreds more under scrutiny, targeting mostly foreign nationals engaged in pro-Palestine activities, according to official statement. Rubio confirmed the scale of the crackdown, announcing that he has canceled visas for more than 300 people he called lunatics connected to campus pro-Palestinian protests in the U.S. with promises. I can't read it. My ticker is going over it. Hold on one second. What are the promises? Promises. With promises of action to continue daily. So that's what Rubio said. Now, we know that they have taken, they took another student. They took the first guy from Columbia College. They took the second woman from Tufts College. They took an Iranian national student from another college, I believe, on yesterday. But even though they were told not to take the female student out of Boston, they took her right out of Boston straight to Louisiana. They're not following judge's order. So, I'm saying that these people are here on student visas. They are rescinding people's visas, but they're not telling them that their visas have been rescinded, so they can go and have this whole big scene with mass people coming out. And what is their crime? They're not pro-American enough. They have sympathy for all the people who are being slaughtered in Palestine. But what they got to tell you is they are pro-Hamas. They are pro-Hamas. That's what they're saying. So there was a man. I don't know if you heard this. Don't forget. I am trying to give you information that you may not know. A man who self-deported. Let's hear what this gentleman has to say. This is him. The repression of Palestinian. The repression of Palestinian. Solidarity. What is this? Solidarity is now being used to wage a wholesale attack on any form of expressions that challenges oppressive and explosive relations in solidarity. I'm sorry. I'm like, what are you saying? That's not a word. Okay, wait a minute. The repression of the Palestinian solidarity is now being used to wage a wholesale attack on any form of expressions that challenges oppressive and explosive relations in the U.S. He also said, for every person that has remained silent, just know that you are not safe either. And that is true. That is true for even citizens. He said that he would put citizens in jail, in the El Salvador jail for 20 years for if they get found messing with those Tesla cars or anything, because that's domestic terrorism. He said that. Okay, so it's the imprisonment of those who speak out against genocide a reflection of your values? Is this the kind of nation you want to live in? So let me let you see a little bit more. Here, no, that's not it. We're going to start with his story, and we'll get back to the people who have been kidnapped. Oh, here we are, right here.
A dual citizen of the United Kingdom and the Gambia, who was twice suspended for joining pro-Palestinian and anti-genocide campus protests at Cornell University, has left the United States following ongoing threats of deportation by the Trump administration. Mamadou Tall explained his decision to leave, writing on social media, quote, "The repression of Palestinian solidarity is now being used to wage a wholesale attack on any form of expression that challenges oppressive and exploitative relations in the U.S. For every person that's remained silent, just know that you are not safe either. Is the imprisonment of those who speak against a genocide a reflection of your values? Is this the kind of nation you want to live in?" he asked. To see our interviews with Mamadou Tall when he was in Ithaca and outside, visit our website at democracynow.org. Meanwhile, several alumni from Columbia University School of International and Public Affairs, CIPA, have publicly ripped up their diplomas to protest the Trump administration's jailing of Mahmoud Khalil, the Palestinian Columbia graduate student protest leader who was abducted by ICE and flown to an immigration jail in Louisiana. Even though he's a permanent U.S. resident, he had a green card. Protesters accused Columbia's administration of putting collaboration with federal agencies ahead of protecting students and their rights to free speech.
Columbia loves to celebrate its Vietnam-era legacy. It loves to talk about how brave students were for protesting. But why was it courageous then and criminalized now?
Columbia's vicious crackdown on protest, its attempts to silence pro-Palestinian students and faculty, has helped pave the way for the American fascism we see unfolding around us.
The Trump administration's launched an investigation into Harvard University, threatening to cut off more than $9 billion in federal grants and contracts over the school's response to student-led protests in solidarity with Gaza. A federal anti-Semitism task force is expected to visit the Harvard campus soon. A scathing op-ed in the Harvard Crimson student newspaper condemns the response of Harvard administrators as shameful, adding, quote, "Students are being hurt, threatened, and snatched off the street in real time, as our administrators, whose primary responsibility should be defending the well-being of students, stay silent, leaving students to feel that they must fend for themselves," the op-ed read. Last week, the Harvard chapter of the American Association of University Professors joined a lawsuit against the Trump administration over its deportation of international students on ideological grounds. Meanwhile, 70% of Harvard Law School professors have signed a letter condemning the Trump administration for attacking law firms that represent causes and clients opposed by the Trump administration. President Trump on Sunday threatened to bomb Iran unless it reaches a new agreement with the U.S. over its nuclear program. Trump's threat.
And that's this. Okay, one story at a time. So this is what the United States is turning into, and it is important to understand that when they attack these law firms, they are limiting your and my opportunity to be represented by a good attorney if we need a good attorney, even if we have a good case that a good attorney would take. Some attorneys will not take certain cases if they feel like it's against the administration. You know that 2 attorneys fell on their knees and offered him pro bono services. So he would take them off their list. And what have they done? They represented people in the January 6th stuff, or they may have had an attorney who was on the dais when he was up on the many crimes that he was up on. So they targeted these law firms, huge law firms. And also, a lot of the things that these huge law firms also do is they give to other attorneys who fight, smaller cases, like the everyday man cases. So that is taken from representation that you could get as well. Now, you see all of the things that is going on with these schools and Columbia. It's interesting what they said about Harvard because Columbia actually just bent their knee and they took it. So not only are they making the demands of these schools that you can't do this and you have to put your African American studies, your Muslim studies under a provost and all of this type of stuff for 5 years. We must approve. $9 billion, that's a lot of money. So they really are trying to hit them. So not only are they doing that in our government, which always goes into our private sector, all of these demands, remember when he took away DEI and how many corporations took away DEI? He's also saying this to Trump tells European companies to comply with Donald Trump's anti-diversity order. He's telling people out of the country that they must comply with his anti-diversity order. The Trump administration has sent a letter to some large companies in the EU warning them to comply with an executive order in the United States banning diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. The letter sent by the American Embassy in Paris and others around the EU said that Donald Trump executive order applied to companies outside of the U.S. if they were a supplier or service provider to the American government, according to 3 people familiar with the matter. The embassies also sent a questionnaire that ordered the companies to attest to their compliance. The document, which the Federal Financial Times has seen, is titled Certification Regarding Compliance with Applicable Federal Anti-Discrimination Law. The document said the Department of State contractors must certify that they do not operate any programs promoting DEI that violate any applicable anti-discrimination laws and agree that such certification is material for purpose of government's payment decisions and therefore subject to the False Claim Act. The False Claims Act. So they're saying that DEI is a discrimination. DEI do not operate any programs promoting DEI that violate any applicable discrimination laws. So they're saying if you are doing any DEI stuff, that is discrimination. Let's see what else it says about that. A senior banker in Paris said he was shocked by the letter. I can't see that word. It's something, but everything is now possible. The rule of the strongest now prevails. American interference in the inclusion policies of French companies, such as threats of unjustified tariffs, is unacceptable. The French Foreign Trade Ministry said in a statement, France and Europe will defend their companies, their consumers, and also their values. The existence of the letter was first reported by L'Echo's newspaper. There's one more. So the French said, no, we're going to do our thing our way. Fuck you. Did you guys know about this? If you're learning something new, those are my goals. The extraterritorial move may not be enforceable according to initial. I can't read that. It's under my logo. The initial. Oh, okay. The extraterritorial move may not be enforceable according to initial legal assessment, so some executives and their advisors have decided not to respond for now, said two of the people. It comes amid escalating tension between the Trump administration and Europe over economic security policies as America pivots away from its traditional allies, especially on trade, and Russia's full-scale invasion of the Ukraine. So, did you guys know about that? I would assume you did. Okay, so let me see if there's anything else. Okay, this is also what Europe has said regarding the Ukraine. European countries plan to send military teams to the Ukraine in the coming weeks to determine how many troops would be needed for the reassurance force and where they should be stationed, the Washington Post reports. And they will confer with Ukraine on beefing up its army to hold a future front line. It is reported that European forces has also shifted to air and sea powers, as many army chiefs point out the limitations of a large troop deployment. And as other countries propose their capabilities for patrols in Ukraine's skies or in the Black Sea. So the EU sees that Trump is not serious about anything in the Ukraine. So they are saying that they're going to put some troops together and help the Ukrainians out, which is always good. Okay, so let me get to this other thing I wanted to share with you guys. Wanted to talk about. Here we go. This is about them discovering that they sent a person who was not supposed to go and saying it was a clerical error. They sent him to the El Salvador prison.
Process, it is your, when we hear about due process, it is your right, but it also protects not only the people, but the government from mistakes. That's just part of the basic due process where whether you're arrested or the government wants to do something to you, you have process rights before they do it. And that brings us to a very real world example of how law and incompetence are troubling the Trump administration. They admit the mistake. They have now deported a Maryland father on one of those El Salvador flights in, quote, error. They got the wrong guy. He was here legally, and he's being treated like this and sent down there where he's now stuck. Kilmar Abrego Garcia has legal status in the U.S. He actually originally came from El Salvador all the way back in 2011 and is protected under a court order that says he cannot be sent back for safety reasons. The administration says they knew, and they deported him anyway. So this is just a giant failure. Garcia arrested after work one evening while picking up his child. Agents telling him his status has changed. That was false. And then within days, he was loaded on that flight. No due process, no hearings, none of the actions which, as I've said, are supposed to protect him, but also would protect the government, which has an interest in not deporting the wrong people or misidentifying Americans as gang members and denying them of all rights and shipping them abroad. If it could happen to him, I've told you it could happen to others. He's in the infamous terrorist confinement center down there. The White House, while admitting the error, also has statements they're making about him to somehow justify it. Trump officials admitted the deportation was an error, though, in written paperwork. And now they say, despite all the powers they want to exercise on immigration, there's actually nothing they can do. They make the claim that U.S. courts do not have jurisdiction to seek his release now that he's out of the country. That is what looks like an error. But you can imagine a different scenario where the government does the exact same thing I just told you to an American or a critic or a professor or a political opponent or a journalist and says, error or not, they're gone. They're in a foreign prison. And remember, on top of all that, Trump can get a lot out of El Salvador with his cozy relationship there.
El Salvador is an interesting one because I know the president. He does it differently, smart.
No country's ever made an offer of friendship such as this. It's just one more sign of what an incredible friend we have here in President Bukele.
And I have great respect for you, and I really appreciate what you're doing.
The United States is not only a partner and an ally, but also a friend.
The evidence suggests if President Trump called El Salvador after them helping on this thing and said, well, we sent one person there wrongly, send them back, that they could get that. So again, that also doesn't pass the fact check. Meanwhile, Trump supporter and recently conservative, although sometimes sort of more iconoclastically independent podcaster Joe Rogan, who literally has tens of millions of listeners. He had a big Trump interview before the election. He says this is wrong.
You got to get scared that people who are not criminals are getting like lassoed up and deported. Horrific. It's horrific.
I don't think that should be controversial.
No, that's not controversial at all. And this is the thing, you know, measured twice, cut once.
Yeah.
This is this is kind of crazy that could be possible. That's horrific.
Horrific, says the Trump supporter. He attended the inauguration, and horrific because it's wrong. Anyone who is too partisan to recognize when facts show mistakes or something is wrong, or you have picked up a father who's legally in this country and send him down to an El Salvadorian prison, and you don't have the mental ability or, quite frankly, the guts to acknowledge that, then the government's problem is also yours.
Late last night and early this morning, Vice President J.D. Vance took to Twitter to argue with people about the Maryland father who was deported with zero due process and who had temporary protected status, meaning he was not supposed to be removed from the country, yet the Trump administration still did and said it was a, quote, administrative error. Now, the most egregious part is, while this father is sitting in a dangerous prison in El Salvador, and while his 5-year-old kid with a disability is waiting for him to come home, J.D. Vance is lying about him online. I mean, the dude can't defend himself. He doesn't have a Twitter at this moment. So J.D. Vance is misrepresenting his previous cases. He is now saying that the admin was justified, even though they just said it was an error. And I want to break all of this down, plus how JD Vance basically just edited a tweet after he realized he was completely wrong. Before I even jump in, let me just tell you, JD Vance lies in about 6 different ways in these posts, but we'll make sure we fact check all of it. If you appreciate what I do, make sure you scroll down, drop a like, and let's start from the beginning. So yesterday, The Atlantic dropped a story. It says, exclusive, the Trump admin has acknowledged that it grabbed a Maryland father with protected status and mistakenly deported him to El Salvador, but it claims the courts are powerless to order his return, which is a whole different story that is scary. But then JD Vance took to Twitter and began to mock Jon Favreau, who works with Pod Save America. Now, Jon Favreau said, any comment on this, Marco Rubio? How about you, JD Vance or Elon Musk? You just admitted to accidentally sending an innocent father from Maryland to a torture dungeon, is what Jon Favreau is saying in this tweet below. JD Vance then responds and says, my comment is that according to the court document you apparently didn't read, he was a convicted MS-13 gang member with no legal right to be here. Wrong. False. JD Vance is lying. He then says, my further comment is that it's gross to get fired up about gang members getting deported while ignoring citizens they victimize. But the thing is, while JD Vance mocks Jon Favreau, Vance clearly didn't read the court document. So then journalist Kyle Cheney responds and says, Vance here, mocking Jon Favreau for not reading the court filing, says the deported man was a, quote, convicted gang member. The court filing does not say that. It doesn't say that anywhere. In fact, all of the court filings say the exact opposite. He was denied bond in 2019 over an informant's claim he was MS-13. That is not a conviction, and the judge ended up saying he's not MS-13. He can have temporary protected status. This says, but let's read the court document while we have it here. I mean, Plaintiff Garcia is a citizen and native of El Salvador, and his co-plaintiffs are his U.S. citizen wife and 5-year-old child who reside in Maryland. In March of 2019, Garcia was served notice to appear in removal proceedings, charging him as, quote, inadmissible as an alien present because they thought he was a part of MS-13. Garcia then filed an application for asylum and withholding of removal, and although he was found removable, the immigration judge granted him withholding of removal to El Salvador, saying, hey, you are temporarily protected here, and it's been like that ever since. So the key takeaway is that when JD Vance says he was a convicted MS-13 gang member, JD Vance is lying right here. He's lying. And that's the thing. When there's no due process, when that's stripped away, Garcia, the dude who was deported, never had a chance to even defend himself. But it gets worse because JD Vance then tweets something out early this morning and then changes it because you can now edit tweets. And I want to break down what he tweeted before and what he changed. So again, let me just reiterate, when you don't give someone due process, they don't have the chance to show that, hey, they have temporary protected status. Hey, I'm not a gang member. You know what's actually cool is that the court filing from 2019 shows the system working as intended. In 2019, there was still due process, apparently. So when Garcia went into court, he presented his case, and the judge said, wait a minute, this dude actually has a very compelling case. He should not be removed. I'm going to give him temporary protected status. That is the system working as intended. You show your evidence, and the judge or the jury, they make a decision. So early this morning, JD Vance tweeted out, Kyle Cheney, a legal affairs reporter, is apparently unable or unwilling to look at the facts here. So let's look at what facts JD Vance wants to present. And let me remind you, when he says Kyle Cheney, a legal affairs reporter, he's referring to the dude who wrote this previous tweet. If you look up at the top of the screen up there, that's Kyle Cheney. And it says senior legal affairs reporter for Politico. So he's the one that said JD Vance didn't even read the court filing. And that pissed JD Vance off so much that he decided to respond to Kyle Cheney. Now, before I read this, I'm going to give a little bit of a hot take that people will disagree with. I actually think it's okay if elected officials want to argue with people online, not like this. JD Vance does it in a very condescending, abrasive way. He does it a little bit too much. JD Vance is arguing with people basically on a daily basis, but I have seen Democratic politics to the problem. So JD Vance says, Kyle Cheney, a legal affairs reporter, is apparently unable or unwilling to look at the facts here. In 2019, an immigration judge under the Biden administration determined that the deported man was in fact
in 2019, where am I? So this is your vice president. Said in 2019, an immigration judge under the Biden administration. Full stop. Biden wasn't president in 2019. Biden had no administration in 2019. Donald Trump was the president in 2019. So it was under Trump's administration. This is your vice president. What is their first go-to? Biden. We got to clean up after Biden. Now you done fucked up and lied, and now you're trying to go to Biden in 2019. Let's continue.
fact, a member of an MS-13 gang. Okay, let's just stop right here. First of all, JD Vance says that he's going to look at the facts. And then he claims that in 2019, an immigration judge under the Biden administration, just think about this. Who was the president in 2019 in the pre-COVID era? JD Vance is already getting his facts wrong. He said under the Biden admin, he meant under the Trump admin. Okay, maybe that was just a mistake. But then he says that the judge determined he was a member of an MS-13 gang. That is not the.
I don't think that was a mistake. I think that they always are told, and it's just like a hiccup right about now. Every time they get caught doing something dumb and stupid, they try to blame it on the Biden administration, like we stupid.
The claim that JD Vance originally made. JD Vance originally claimed he was a convicted MS-13 gang member. He was not convicted anywhere. So JD Vance is already backpedaling. He then says he also apparently had multiple traffic violations for which he had failed to appear in court. A real winner. I'm sorry, is JD Vance arguing that because of failed traffic violations, he deserved to get deported to a really dangerous prison in El Salvador? JD Vance says it's telling that the entire American media is going to run a propaganda operation today, making you think an innocent father of three was apprehended by a gulag. Here are the relevant facts. And before we dig into JD Vance's facts, which we shouldn't trust, he just got everything wrong. He got everything wrong. He doesn't even know who was the president in 2019. This was not a convicted gang member. So JD Vance is contradicting himself right here. When he says the American media is going to run a propaganda operation, my read is that's panic. He's trying to obfuscate and project.
My read is that he's running the propaganda machine.
Before this becomes a nationwide story. And trust me, it will. You remember the gay hairstylist who was deported about a week ago? If you thought that was a big story, wait until people hear about the father of three with a disabled 5-year-old who was deported without due process and who had temporary protected status. So JD Vance is currently defending the indefensible right now. And that's why he's getting so many facts wrong. So then, an hour after posting this tweet, JD Vance makes an edit to it. On Twitter, you can edit a tweet, and then it updates, and it shows you the old post, which is how I had access to the old tweet. But in the new post, he makes some changes. He then says the same thing about Kyle Cheney, blah, blah, blah. But then he changes this. He says, in 2019, an immigration judge under the Trump administration. Ooh, that's a dirty deletion right there. He changes the tweet. And then he says the same thing about it is telling the American media is going to run a propaganda operation. Here are the facts that JD Vance lays out that we will fact check. He says, 1, the man is an illegal immigrant with no right to be in our country. Well, he did have temporary protected status, so a judge granted him the right to not be removed. It's just wrong. You're wrong, JD Vance. He then says, an immigration judge determined he was a member of the MS-13 gang. Not exactly right. An informant claimed he was, but the judge said it was murky and he was never convicted. 3, because he is not a citizen, he does not get a full jury trial by peers. In other words, whatever due process he was entitled to, he received. That is also just so incredibly wrong. Even if he doesn't get a full jury trial by peers, not everybody gets that every single time, he does get to present his argument in court. He does get to present his case, or at least have some sort of grace period where it's...
Okay, so you guys can go check that out. Quite interesting. Hey, Truth and Reason. How you doing? Catch. Yes, catch, girl. You have to catch them at every turn, because there's always something to catch. So let me go here. Now, here is the White House spokesliar. Let's see what she has to say about this same case when asked. Adam again. Let me get to where they start questioning her. Let's start right here.
Do you, as that case was closed, do you have anything? You said case closed.
Just start from the beginning of the presser.
You said case closed yesterday. Do you, as that case was closed, do you have anything that you can share about what was learned, how this can be avoided in the future, any sort of findings from that investigation?
The case is closed and the president continues to have confidence in his national security advisor.
Wow.
Okay, so she's talking about the case where the national security advisors and the director of the CIA and the Department of the DOJ chair were on a unsecure line talking about actual confidential information when they have whole procedures to do that in. Let's continue.
Caroline, when the president goes down to Florida on the weekends, does he ever hear from, there are so many retired folks down in Florida. Does he ever hear from any retired Americans who are stressed about these wild swings in the stock market because of the tariff uncertainty? And they're sitting there on fixed income or living off the 401k, and they don't know how much money's going to be left?
Well, certainly they are legitimate concerns, and the president takes those concerns very seriously.
Does he? Does he take them seriously? Because he's only worsening them. I mean, tomorrow is supposed to be quote unquote Liberation Day. And, you know, I love how Peter Doocy from Fox News has to ask the question in such a softball way. Like, I could just see how he phrased the question. He's like, when Daddy Trump goes down to Mar-a-Lago, I'm sure there are other old people in Florida, right? Like, just ask her straight up, hey, Trump is kind of nuking the stock market due to his uncertainty. Can we get some answers on that?
And he's addressing them every single day. And tomorrow's announcement is to protect future generations. The senior citizens you mentioned, it's for their kids and their grandkids.
Wait a minute. Okay, think about this for 1 second. Trump promised that on day one, he was going to get into office, and on day one, prices would be lower.
So we won't get any good economy, and only our kids and grandkids will reap the good economy. Let's continue.
Ally with Canada, not help our grandkids at all. I mean,
to ensure that there are jobs here in the United States of America for their children to live the American dream, just like they presumably did. And as for their worries about their 401ks, their Social Security, I just addressed Social Security. This president is always going to protect it for our tax-paying senior citizens.
I mean, I hope he protects it, absolutely. But the way that Congress is maneuvering around and trying to do this tax cut bill while conveniently only targeting the sector where Social Security lies, it kind of seems like that's what they're going for. Now, let's watch the main clip. This is a clip that has been making the rounds. There's always that one clip. And it's because Caroline Leavitt gets directly confronted on the story that's blowing up right now. The Trump admin last night admitted in a court filing that they deported the wrong guy and sent him to an El Salvador mega prison. They still won't bring him home. It's absolutely wild. They claim they don't have the jurisdiction to bring him home. They even admitted that they made a mistake. So Caroline Leavitt gets pressed, and she calls it a quote-unquote clerical error. Now, I'll debunk this after, but just keep in mind, this is a father of three who has a disabled child. He's not a clerical error. None of this is a clerical error. I mean,
just changing subjects for 1 second. The administration has expressed a complete confidence in how all the deportation flights to El Salvador were conducted. But now that the administration has conceded that there was an error of one Salvadoran national, will there be any reviews conducted? And does the president express any thoughts on the one error that was disclosed in court last night?
Well, first of all, the error that you are referring to was a clerical error. It was an administrative error. The administration maintains the position that this individual who was deported to El Salvador and will not be returning to our country was a member of the brutal and vicious MS-13 gang.
they haven't demonstrated any evidence of that. The whole purpose of me making this video is to push back. So I'm going to pause to say there is no evidence of that other than an unidentified informant. And even the cops didn't really believe this claim.
That is fact number one. Fact number two, we also have credible intelligence proving that this individual was involved in human trafficking.
That has never been alleged anywhere. JD Vance didn't say that in his write-up today. In fact, when JD Vance sent out a tweet about this, he said this dude had been pulled over for multiple traffic violations. JD Vance genuinely cited traffic violations. But Caroline Leavitt right here, I'm like 99% sure she just made that up, like right before this presser or on the spot maybe.
And fact number three, this individual was a member, actually a leader of the brutal MS-13 gang, which this
It went from him being in a gang to being the actual gang leader after they made the clerical error. So let's sully him when we were totally in the wrong. We say oops, and she is indignant about him. Hey, Happy Life Grand Rising. I'm just sitting back and watching that that's their thing. Oh, yeah, that is their thing. Yeah, that is their thing. How many of these liars have 24-hour security? Yeah, she just added on and added on and added on, still admitting that what happened was actually their fault. So check out my description box if you want to go through the whole thing. Did I miss this one? Oh, I did miss that one. I'll play this one for you.
Just after he hit the record tonight in the United States Senate, after he crossed that 24-hour, 19-minute threshold, you saw the applause there from the chamber. He set the all-time record for the longest anyone has ever held the floor in the United States Senate. In that moment, it was a surprise, at least to me, watching it live, when Senator Booker announced that he would keep going. But the very next thing he did after he broke the record is he said that he would take a question from his friend, the senator from Nevada, Catherine Cortez Masto. And in her question, she told him, listen, Senator Booker, while you have been here holding the floor, there is a lot of news that has broken in the world. And I don't know if you have heard about it because you have been holding the floor here for now 24 hours and 19 minutes. But she then told him some of the details about the absolute bloodbath of cuts that Trump forced through today at the FDA and the CDC and the NIH and the other parts of Health and Human Services. Senator.
Now, this is crazy. This right here is crazy. They are firing 10,000 people, and look at the area that these people were working in. He got notified that they shut down the Alzheimer's group, the whole Alzheimer's thing, everything, any support, any research, anything. He also, you'll see. There's no need of me telling you y'all here.
Cortez Masto told Senator Booker on the floor tonight about Trump, for example, cutting funding for something called the Healthy Aging Program at the CDC. And that, sounds woo-woo, right? Sounds something light, something that the Trump administration would certainly think
woo.
Expendable. You want to know what the Healthy Aging Program is at the CDC? It's all the government's Alzheimer's programs. Trump just cut them today. Trump today fired 10,000 people who work at the FDA and the CDC and the NIH, including all the people working on Alzheimer's. They cut people.
Let's not forget that they said all of these departments were not allowed to put out any bulletins, including health update. So that measles scare, that they had a whole lot of children coming in with their livers almost in failure because they were listening to this quack JFK saying that you could treat measles outbreak with, I think it was vitamin D. And you have a whole lot of children. It had went from Texas, and now the measles outbreak is in 19 states. Okay, let's continue.
People working on bird flu and on measles. They cut hundreds of people from the Center for Drug Evaluation. And I'm sure the Trump administration thinks, well, what's the heck's that? Why do we care about that? Drug evaluation? We don't need that. We've got AI. When they cut those hundreds of people from the Center for Drug Evaluation, that's the people who are responsible for the approval of new drugs and also the monitoring of side effects. They also appear to have completely emptied out the part of the government that regulates tobacco because, there was nothing successful about that.
So now we won't get these commercials telling you if you have this, and that. it could be because, and you're taking this medication, see a doctor. We won't get those warnings from this medication that they're putting out so quickly to satisfy pharmaceutical companies that they're using us as guinea pigs. Forget the trials, forget the clinical trials. Let's just try it out on the whole population and have them pay for it, and go into these doctor's office and solicit them and bring them lunch, and let's get these drugs out. Let's make this money. Okay, let's continue.
I have more on all of that ahead, but you should also know, to Senator Booker's point that he just made here live, you should also know that when the news of these mass firings of the nation's health experts started getting out this morning, when the word started getting out, within hours, people were lining the streets outside the CDC in Atlanta to protest what Trump was doing.
So that also ensures that you won't know that other people are having the same problems with this medication. And, less chance for a class action lawsuit because they are putting these drugs out because it's not connected to anybody but you as an individual. Let's continue.
Thanking the workers there for their work, telling them the value of the CDC and other health agencies, telling workers there to stay strong, saying that, what madness it is to cut things like tuberculosis monitoring and prevention and treatment, the deadliest disease ever known to humankind. Senator Booker today on the Senate floor, he got emotional when he talked about the Trump cuts to the VA. He talked about the sacrifice of his fellow U.S. Senator Tammy Duckworth, who was wounded so grievously in combat as a helicopter pilot for the U.S. Army in Iraq. Well, while Senator Booker was emotionally speaking about that today, we were reviewing this footage from Boise, Idaho. These Americans just outside their VA medical center in Boise, protesting Trump's huge cuts to the VA and veterans care. One sign for the many veterans who staff that VA hospital in Boise.
Hold on. Let me pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Oh, say, can you see? Let me salute.
Who have now just been fired. Thank you, vets. You deserve a raise. Literally, while I was listening to Senator Booker talk about cuts to the VA and how so many of the people Trump is firing from the federal government are themselves veterans, I was simultaneously on another tab in my browser reviewing this footage of people turning out in Sacramento, California, outside the VA medical center there, protesting Trump's huge cuts to the VA workforce and what it's doing to veterans care there. Senator Booker, in his Senate filibuster, talked today about the Kafkaesque nightmare of how immigrants are being treated. People literally accosted on the street by masked agents in unmarked vehicles. People whose papers have only been secretly revoked. People grabbed by masked agents and then sent off to prisons indefinitely with no opportunity to contest the government's actions or contentions about them, with no right to defend themselves, no ability to contact a lawyer. While we were listening to Senator Booker talking about that today in his Senate filibuster, we got in this footage of hundreds of people protesting outside the so-called Chrome Detention Center in Miami, where Trump is sending so many of the people he's been arresting off the streets. People in Florida protesting what the Trump administration admits are severely overcrowded conditions there. People crammed into cells with nothing to sleep on, nothing to sleep under. People crammed into this facility with what is allegedly inadequate and frequently spoiled food and even insufficient access to water. In Tuscaloosa, Alabama, people turning out to protest a University of Alabama graduate student, an engineering doctoral student originally from Iran, who the Trump administration has inexplicably arrested and now jailed without explanation. He has no criminal record. He's here on a valid student visa. We are expecting this Saturday, this April 5th, to be one of the largest days of protest yet by regular Americans protesting against the Trump administration and what Trump is doing to the government and to the country. But we see these protests every day.
Okay, so that is why I put the poll question up. That is what I wanted to know from the poll question, because, April 5th is the day of protests. There are going to be protests everywhere. I just remembered I was going to go to my Instagram and get it. I will put it on my community wall. There's someone I follow that she always puts a calendar up for protests in whatever city people submit where they are having protests at. And so I will put that on my community wall. So a lot of people, I know I did protest putting him in office with my vote. A lot of people feel that no, it's their time to protest because they, they voted him in. So let them go out and protest. So that's why I wanted to get a gauge of what you guys think. And let me close the poll right now and see. Let me end my poll and we will find out what you guys think about the National Day of Protests. Come on, poll. Hey, Hood Scripture. I couldn't get to my phone fast enough. I'm listening to you on the TV. You didn't take the poll? Is that what you're saying, Hood Scripture? I don't know where the poll is. It's not coming up. Why aren't I? Where am I? Oh, there I am. Okay, I closed the poll. I don't know why it's not coming up. Let me see if it came up yet. Nope. No poll. I don't know why my poll is not coming up. So, Truth and Reasons. Oh, there it is. Finally. Okay. Let's see what you guys said. Will you be protesting on April 5th? No, I won't be. I won't be a black target. 46% of you said you know. That's the winning amount. I will not be out there being a black target. 36% of you said I voted. It's on them. 15% of you said yes, we have to speak up too. And only 1% says I got to see the crowd first. So yeah, it took forever for my poll to come up. Shady boots. I took the poll. I was laughing at the pledge. Oh, okay. Shady boots. Okay, so so that's of 65 people. So we know that when they see us out there, they don't see us protesting, peaceful protesting. They see us as rioting. So that is why I gave the option. The second option is I protest with my vote. Everybody had the chance to protest. They heard what they had coming down the pipe as policy in Project 2025, and they heard him give out no policy when he was on all of those Trump rallies. He gave zero policies. So we'll see what happens on the 5th. I can't call it. I don't know. I just don't know. I have one last story I want to talk about. I think it's just one last. Okay, I gave you guys that. Okay, one last story. Maybe, and two little shorts. Harpo, who this man? Harpo, who is this man? Somebody tell me, who is this man? Who is that? You see, I see a whole lot of official flags and Department of something. Who is this man? Harpo, who this man? Okay, let's find out who this man is. That is Pete Hegseth's brother. He has a high-ranking role in the Department of Defense with absolutely no merit. Remember, everything was going to be based on meritocracy by Hegseth. Remember, everything was going to be about merit. Firing 4-star generals. So let's get into this bullshit. And you will also, I think you may be surprised that he has been taking his wife on top secret meetings with foreign dignitaries. His wife, a former Fox News producer, you know, the one who got knocked up by him while he was still married to the other wife, who had got knocked up by him while he was still married to the first wife. Yeah. So I wonder if she has security clearance. I wonder, does he have security clearance? Why is she going to two of his job meetings? She can't trust that nigga to go to work. What's going on? Let me see. What's the name? Okay. Entirely unsurprised. Okay. Let me share this with you guys. And let's check it out.
Today, Donald Trump did what he often does when he is trying to change the subject. Picked up the phone and called a reporter and said a lot of things. This morning, the reporter on the other end of the phone was NBC's Kristen Welker. And during that call, Trump said he's pissed off at Vladimir Putin, okay, and that he might impose 25% tariffs on Russian oil if they can't reach a deal with Ukraine. What does that deal look like? That's a whole question. He also threatened to bomb Iran if they don't agree to a nuclear deal. And again, Donald Trump says a lot of things. We've all been following this for a decade now. He likes to sound tough. He likes to put threats out there. And right now, he definitely wants us to be talking about anything other than the scandal that engulfed his administration all week long. Trump also told Kristen, with a two-word "I do," that he still has confidence in his national security team, even after they included a reporter on a group chat that, more importantly, was about imminent war plans. He said the signal controversy was a witch hunt, his favorite go-to phrase. Nothing to see here, of course. The thing is, he's definitely in the minority on that one. Because in a brand new poll I bet you he may have seen from CBS News out this morning, a full 75% of Americans said this issue is serious. Of course it is serious. But here's the thing I keep coming back to. Should we really be surprised about all of this? Because even before he accidentally texted war plans to a reporter, it's safe to say there were some serious, real, legit red flags about Pete Hegseth in particular. I mean, before running the U.S. military, he was a weekend morning show host on Fox News for a decade. No shade to cable weekend news hosts, obviously. Even ones who get a little crazy on New Year's Eve, as you can see there. But it's not exactly a job that prepares you to run the Pentagon as your next step. There were also the countless allegations of Hegseth drinking on the job, both at veterans organizations and at Fox News. The New Yorker reported he once got so drunk that he had to be restrained from getting on a stage at a Louisiana strip club, and that he once drunkenly chanted, "Kill all Muslims," while he was on an official tour for a nonprofit he was in charge of. And then there were the allegations that he ran those two relatively small veterans organizations, much smaller than the Pentagon, into the ground. And of course, these were the allegations. Of course, there were the big concerning allegations about his abuse of women. Now, he denies all of it. But yeah, fair to say, there were some serious red flags about this guy's judgment and about his character, which is why he barely squeaked by in the Senate. J.D. Vance had to cast a tie-breaking vote to get him confirmed. So it was both shocking but entirely unsurprising when this week the Atlantic's Jeffrey Goldberg released everything he saw in that group chat detailing attack plans in Yemen. And it was both shocking, but again, entirely unsurprising. When we saw the screenshots of Pete Hegseth, you can see them on the screen there, on an unsecure commercial app with a journalist on the chain, laying out in explicit detail the weaponry and sequencing involved with that attack. And it was, of course, both shocking but entirely unsurprising when even after those screenshots were released, Hegseth looked into the camera and just kept lying about the thing that we had all seen with our very own eyes.
Well, I noticed this morning out came something that doesn't look like war plans. And as a matter of fact, they even changed the title to attack plans because they know it's not war plans. There's no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths, no sources, no methods, no classified information.
I've got to say, there's one thing Pete Hegseth does seem to be good at. It is denying things forcefully. Like the louder he talks, the more accurate it is or something. He sure does have a lot of experience in that area too, as I've just outlined. So look, the issue of competence here is obviously a big one because that's how.
And I just outlined it as well, you know, with the mistresses getting pregnant while he's still married, the first mistress and the second mistress. I'm pretty sure he's used to that type of line. Let's continue.
Is at this hour still in charge of our armed forces. But the other issue is the hypocrisy. Because as incompetent as Pete Hegseth is, and clearly he's incompetent, and as meritless as his rise to this job was, he sure does like to talk an awful lot about merit.
The DOD will be merit-based and colorblind. You will be judged based on how good you are at your job. Full stop. That's it. We will judge you as an individual by your merit, focusing just on lethality and meritocracy. I mean, this is an institution built for meritocracy. Meritocracy.
Will you be judged by how good you are at your job by merit? Doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, he certainly doesn't have much, as we all know. And apparently neither do the people he's surrounding himself with. This week, the Associated Press reported that Hegseth's younger brother, Phil, is currently serving in a key role at the Pentagon as a liaison to the Department of Homeland Security and a senior advisor to his brother. Now,
hold on, lady. Hold on, lady. Don't go there. Obviously, he has merit. What are you talking about, lady? So what? So what? Obviously, Hegseth is going on merit. So, of course, his brother has a job working in the State Department, serving as a key role as a liaison and senior advisor. I'm pretty sure he has a 4-star general experience as well. Let's continue.
you might be wondering, what kind of experience Phil Hegseth brings to that job? Well, according to his publicly available resume, Phil's past experience primarily includes founding his own podcast company. Good for you. Doesn't make you qualified to be the senior advisor of the Secretary of Defense. And working on social media and podcasts at the Hudson Institute. I mean, again, good for you. Not a qualification for the job you seem to have been given. He also worked alongside his brother when Pete was the CEO of one of those veteran groups that he ran into the ground. In fact, Pete paid his little brother $108,000 to do media relations for that organization. In a statement to the AP, the Department of Homeland Security confirmed Phil Hegseth's job title and said this interagency mission is part of Mr. Hegseth's preview, presumably meaning purview there. So there's that.
I would say a preview to what? Oh my God. Okay.
And guys, I really wish this was like the last embarrassing Hegseth story. I promise you, this gives me no real pleasure. I had to tell you about today. But according to the Wall Street Journal, Hegseth also brought his wife, a former Fox News producer, to 2 meetings with foreign military counterparts where sensitive information was discussed. Here she is, you can see her there, entering a bilateral meeting with Hegseth's British counterpart. That's her right there in the blue. Apparently, in that meeting, Hegseth had to explain why the U.S. cut off intelligence sharing with Ukraine, which I think we'd all classify as a pretty sensitive matter. And no, Hegseth's wife is not a Defense Department employee. And when asked if she was even had a low-level security clearance, the Pentagon declined to comment, which, by the way, is a tell.
So if they declined to comment if she had any low-level clearance and they declined to tell, that means no. That means no. Let's continue.
Given all the recent evidence and given
you feel safe? Do you feel safe?
all the past evidence, it is fair to ask, should the American people trust Pete Hegseth to run the largest military in the world? I think you know the answer. And I really hate to quote myself here, but 2 days after he was confirmed for this job, this is what I had to say. As I said, Pete Hegseth was confirmed. He was sworn in, and he's now in charge of the most powerful military in the history of the world. And it is my sincere hope, it should be everyone's, that he can handle that job. But if he can't, just remember that there was an avalanche of red flags that all but 3 Republican senators overlooked on their way to confirming him. Remember all of it. We will.
And let's not forget that I played his confirmation hearing, and all of these women who had served in the military. Joni Ernst, it was 2 Republican women. Joni Ernst, who was actually in the military, I believe, 20 years and got SA'd while she was in the military, and heard all the disgusting things that he felt that women should not have a place in the military. She confirmed him. She confirmed him, and there was another Republican who was in the military. And I played that for you. And they heard all of this stuff. And they had all of these questions and wanted to represent how now in that confirmation hearing, it was said that Hegseth had SA'd, a woman had claimed he had SA'd her, and it settled out of court. And with him paying her, I think it was $50,000, and having her sign an NDA. And it was also said in that confirmation hearing that his own attorney in that case said that if that case had gone to trial, something to the effect that he would have been in big trouble. But these people confirmed him. These women who were in the military confirmed him. So, did they make a mistake? Who set out? Mitch McConnell set out. I can't remember the other two Republicans who sat out. I was surprised Mitch McConnell. That's why they had to bring J.D. Vance in, because the vote was tied. So, you know, if there's a tie vote, the vice president breaks the tie. So that lug broke the tie. So I remember her sound. I remember her sound on. You remember her sounding so tough, but she still voted for him. Did she bring a coloring book or a Game Boy? What the heck? You're talking about the wife sitting up there in top secret meetings. Okay, let me see if Jen is finished. Not Jenny, Jen. Let me see if she's finished.
Told you we'd remember.
Told you we remember. Yeah, we remember. And it ain't the
what if everything you've been
it
told
ain't the
about-
good remembrance like Mary Jane. I remember the way you used to love me. Carrie, just in time to hear me sing. I remember the way you cheated on me. Doom, 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 doom. Let me quit. Okay, let me get it. Let me get this to you guys so you guys can get out of here. It's like a little short. I want to show you. I am so sick of. Wait a minute. Let me share this with you. I have the little article. It's in, all of these are in my description box. This is from the Associated Press. You know, the people that got thrown out of the White House briefings because they said they did not call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. This is an AP story. Okay, Hegseth's younger brother is serving in a key role as liaison and senior advisor inside the Pentagon. I wonder if he got security. We do know that he helped him run that. They asked about that nonprofit agency that Hegseth ran into the ground. $108,000 for media relations. That's a good ass job. Okay, Washington Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's younger brother is serving in a key position inside the Pentagon as Department of Homeland Security liaison and senior advisor, Hegseth office confirmed. The high-profile job has meant meetings with a UFC fighting championship, a trip to Guantanamo Bay, and right now traveling on the Pentagon's 747 aircraft as Hegseth makes his first trip as Defense Secretary to Hawaii. Oh, lucky you. Hegseth's official title is Senior Advisor to the Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security and Liaison Officer. This is a long title. You can't put that on a fucking placard to go on your desk or nothing. Pete Hegseth's official title is Senior Advisor to the Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security and Liaison Officer to the Defense Department, a spokesperson spokesperson Kingsley Wilson said in a statement Thursday. Hegseth, one of a number of talented DHS liaison, told the Department of Defense is conducting touch points with U.S. Coast Guard officials on the Secretary's Indo-Pacific trip, which includes stops in Hawaii, Guam, the Philippines, Japan. Oh, we get to travel. Hey, you wanna party? Let me see you say hey. I wonder, are they allowing alcohol on Hegseth's aircraft? He has the nuclear codes. Do you guys remember that he has the nuclear codes? And he said he would stop drinking if he got the job. But the first trip that we saw him on, he was throwing one back as he was addressing, what was that? I think the G7. I think, yeah. I wonder, do they have alcohol on that 747? Hey, we going to the Philippines. Hey, let's go to Hawaii. I wonder. Oh, if I could be a fly on the wall. Woo. It's gonna be another woman coming knocked up. Okay, let me see. Okay, Wilson said in a response to a query by the Associated Press, I'm clowning. Border security and responsibility of DHS has been highlighted as one of the top priorities for President 4547, and thousands of U.S. troops have been deployed to the border to assist DHS with curbing illegal immigration. Liaison roles are common. It is common for the Defense Department and other federal agencies to have liaison. Each military branch sends liaisons to Capitol Hill. The Pentagon, State Department, and others all use integrity liaison to move more closely coordinate and keep tabs on policy. But it is not common for those senior level positions to be filled by family members of the cabinet head, said Michael Fallings, a managing partner at Tully Rankley PLLC, which specializes in federal employment law. Listen, y'all better quit telling them who you work for, because your motherfucking company gonna be on the hit list of attorneys. You're gonna have to bow down and do some pro bono work. Based upon Hegseth's publicly available resume, his past experience includes founding his own podcast production company, Embassy and Third is the name of that company, and working on social media and podcasts at the Hudson Institute. This is not the first time Phil has worked alongside his brother. When Hegseth was the CEO of Concerned Veterans for America, a nonprofit that fell into financial difficulty during his time there. How it fall? Did they trip it? Did they trip it and make it fall? It fell into financial difficulty, unfortunately, while they put their time there. He paid his brother $108,000 to do media relations for the organization, according to federal tax records. In a statement, the Department of Homeland Security confirmed Hegseth's job title and said it is in integrity. It is said this in integrity mission is part of Hegseth presumably meaning purview. Oh, well, this is the same shit she read. DHS said Phil Hegseth, while on the Indo-Pacific trip, has been meeting with representatives from Homeland Security investigation, the law enforcement arm of the department, and DHS components of integrity, and no, that's not integrancy partners. I don't know what that means. I don't know what any of this means. Okay, so the Pentagon did not respond to a request to interview Phil. Neither the Pentagon nor the Department of Homeland Security has responded to queries about the qualifications of the job. I wonder what the salary of the job is as well. Let me see. He has been his brother's close ally, appearing alongside him throughout his fraught confirmation process in the Senate. It was fraught. Why? Because of his actions or theirs? In photos as Pete Hegseth walked the halls of Congress, Philip is often right there by his side. I want to be where you are. Oh, let me be where you are with these hoes. I want to be where you are. Whoa. Let's travel and get us some hoes. Okay. He now has offices just down the hall from him along the Pentagon's ring, according to the U.S. official familiar with the office location, who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss sensitive matters. Photos posted by the Defense Secretary official Flickr account show Hegseth at the secretary's table as he met with officials or high-profile guests, including Ultimate Fighting Championship champion Conor McGregor. Oh, they're meeting with the UFC champ. Oh, what a gig. Oh, bro. We get UFC champs and hoes. He traveled to Gitmo, Cuba with Pete in February. You remember that trip where I told you that they were to come back and tell 45, 47 if he needed to enact the Insurrection Act. He, Vance, and what's that girl name with the bad skin who was on the call with the white streak in her hair? Her. Yeah, they went to Gitmo to see if they needed to enact the Insurrection Act. Okay. Nepotism laws guide government hiring. 1967 federal nepotism law prohibited government officials from hiring, promoting, or recommending relatives to any civilian position over which they exercise control. So, did 4547 signed an executive order rescinding this nepotism law? So how is Hegseth's brother working in this position? I'm wondering. An image of an office organizational chart obtained by the Associated Press shows Pete in a small group of officials directly beneath his brother with Phil's labeled as senior advisor to the defense secretary. Further review of Phil's hiring would be needed to determine if it ran afoul of federal nepotism laws, but it does not pass the smell test, Falling says. However, if he's wholly employed by the DHS, that would avoid a nepotism violation. So that's why he's employed by both, because they can say, well, you know, he doesn't work for me. He doesn't work under the Defense Department. He works at the Department of Homeland Security. So he getting two checks too? I thought we was looking at waste, fraud, and abuse. Isn't this waste? Isn't this abuse? Could it even be fraud? I'm just asking. Somebody knock on Elon's door and tell him to get up off that pallet in the White House and go over to the Department of Justice and see what the fuck going on over there. he needed to be over there in the first place because that's where it's all going on. But he ain't gonna go over there because that's where he get all his motherfucking welfare from. So he ain't gonna look for no waste fraud. That's why they thought that they could get rid of it, because Elon Musk is over sniffing out waste, fraud, and abuse. So of course he would never go to the Defense Department because that's where he get all of his welfare. All of the welfare is coming to him. What they said he made, I don't want to be wrong. I think it was $23 billion since 47 has been in office in contracts. Nice job if you can get it, and you can get it if you can. Hey, I want that job. Okay. However, it would avoid nepotism violation unless it can be shown that Pete was involved with the hiring or had asserted his authority to get him to help hire his brother. You don't think he did? Do you think that they was just rifling through some the applicants who applied for such a serious job, and they just came upon Phil's application? You don't think that Pete had anything to do with the influence of him getting this job? DHS did not immediately respond to a request for comment on whether it wholly employs Phil. Oh, they asking questions. Don't answer. Let's get our story together. I bet you that motherfucking app, a Signal app, I bet you when they got that request for a comment, I bet you that Signal app was blowing the fuck up of them trying to get their stories together. Ah, my God. Okay, let me quit. Okay. It was okay. DHS would not immediately respond to a request for comment on whether it wholly employs Phil, whether he is paid, and if so, at what federal pay level. Yeah, they want to know too. We want to know how much he's paid. Oh, we want to know how much he's paid. Come on. Okay, there are also some exceptions to the nepotism law for the president's office. In his first term, Trump appointed his son-in-law. Yeah, we know that. Okay, in the Biden administration, Jake Sullivan served as national security advisor to the president, while his brother, Tom Sullivan, was the counselor of the State Department. Well, okay, well, I don't see. Okay, I don't see where there's nepotism. They didn't work. Tom didn't work under Jake. I don't see where see this both sidism. Tom didn't work under Jake. He worked in a whole different department. So the link is in the description box. Did you guys know that? Hey, Nene. Grand Rising. Where is Amy? Hoppo, where is Amy? I think I deleted Amy pictures yesterday because I had so many damn pictures. I deleted Amy yesterday. Damn. Where is Amy? Where is Amy? Amy, I need a new car. Amy, is the price on the cars going to go up, Amy? I need a new car. So today is what they call it. What day are they calling it? This tariff day. They tried to come up with some type of brand name for tariff day, some patriotic name for tariff day. Trump says he couldn't care less if automakers raise prices due to tariffs and believes it'll make people buy American-made cars. No, I never said that. I couldn't care less if they raise prices because people are going to start buying American-made cars right out of the Trumpian mouth. So, Very Carey, I hear that you are in the market for a new vehicle. Are you going to be buying a vehicle since these tariffs are on? I think I have a car that you may be interested in, Very Carey. It is not that expensive. Unfortunately, today is the day of tariffs. I have a Yugo for you, Very Carey. A Yugo. They are still in production. It will only cost you $5 million, Very Carey. They are still being produced in America. They are being produced in Juan's and Jakeem's garages. So order one and we can get it to you in 6 to 8 months. But we need half of that guap. We need half of them funds to get the ball rolling. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You understand what I mean, huh, Carrie? Okay. Let me quit clowning. I think I have something else. This dumb bitch. I am so sick of this dumb black bitch. Now, Harris Faulkner. She say the dumbest shit in the world. She actually said that there should be the death penalty for vandalism at the Muskrats business. Now let me show you. A Fox News anchor make insane statement. Let's see. She's always good for being a dumb bitch. Okay. Did y'all know that she was a dancer on one of Janet Jackson's videos? I forget which one. Did y'all know that?
Pending those retirees, all of that. Just talking plain speak with them. Look, when this nation used to go to war, people in this country would support the war effort with their materials at home and making things for weaponry and all of that. We got to do 100% buy-in over this bumpy period. Just communicate.
Kaylee.
And those 401k people who are depending, those retirees, all of that, just talking plain speak with them. Look, when this nation used to go to war, people...
Bitch, we're not at war. So just talk in plain speak to them as you're sitting up there making millions of dollars per year. So you have to tell about these old people who 401ks are dwindling and they are afraid that they are going to go broke because this economy is so fucked up from the fucked up shit that this fuck motherfucker is doing to the economy. Just talk to them in plain talk. In the war, people used to make things. They used to crochet bonnets for the warriors going off to war. They probably lived in the era, they at least lived in the Vietnam era. So you gotta buckle up, Chuck. We're going through a hard time. As I go back to my New York City penthouse, my high-rise penthouse. Y'all buckle up down here. It's gonna be a bumpy ride. Oh, that's Harris Faulkner. Let me see if you guys have any comments. Oh yeah, I got a few comments. Okay. I wondered about her background. Morning watching. Liberation Day. Thank you. I knew this is Liberation Day, kind of like Independence Day. Today is Liberation Day. You are going to be liberated out of all of your funds that are in your 401k as this market is dragging the gutter because of this these harebrained ideas that is only going to cause the American worker, those who ain't those who still have jobs, those who didn't work for the federal government, just going to cost you more to buy everything, because everything we get is shipped from China that we use around our houses. Everything is made in China. Oh, let me see. Let me speaking of, let me share. I said it was one last thing. Speaking of that, let me share this with you before I go. World leaders put the screws in Trump. Okay, so on Liberation Day, world leaders put the screws in Trump as he freezes up. Interesting. Let me put this on a little lower speed. I was finna say higher speed. Finna. How my mom used to always get on me, but where did I get it from? The country.
President Zelensky. President Zelensky. World leaders are looking at Donald Trump and they smell weakness. Donald Trump seems frozen. He promised that there would be peace in Ukraine in 24 hours from when he took office. In fact, he said he would negotiate a peace deal even before day one. It would be easy. He failed at that. He failed at trying to intimidate President Zelensky.
Okay, I'm gonna move forward. Maybe I don't.
He's failed at trying to intimidate Canada to annex it. He's failed to intimidate Europe. Whether you're our allies or now former allies based on Donald Trump's behavior, or whether you're our adversaries who Donald Trump wants to be friends with, but who are viewing Donald Trump with mockery and weakness like China and Russia, no matter what, everybody is looking at Donald Trump and sensing the same thing. This is an individual who does not know what he's doing, who can't handle this position, who just wants to go golfing and would rather post memes than caring about any details. And this is someone who's focused seemingly on just destroying the United States of America. Take a look at just the international headlines like this in the UK from the Daily Star. Madness of King Don, another ordinary day in the grand old USA. Man baby Trump, man baby. Insists he will defy law to be president until 2023. World markets tumble over new threats on tariffs. You got headlines like this as well. Putin begins biggest Russian military call-up in years. President Vladimir Putin has called up 160,000 men aged 18 to 30, Russia's highest number of conscripts since 2011. As Spravdi explains, while some still want to entertain the notion that Russia's dictator isn't planning on a full war on the European continent, Putin just signed this decree, see it right here, for spring mobilization, growing the Russian army by another 160,000 troops, in addition to the constant influx of contract soldiers from North Korea and elsewhere. Your friend Donald, Kim Jong-un, Donald, as Jay in Kyiv, who does a great job chronicling what's going on in Russia, Ukraine, and Eastern Europe, as he writes, Russia readies for full-scale war against Europe while Trump tries to extort all of Europe. When America again needs help, allies will be sending blankets. Headlines like this as well from Taiwan. The Chinese military announced large-scale drills, PBS writes, in the waters and airspace around Taiwan on Tuesday that include an aircraft carrier battle group, as it again warned the self-ruled island democracy against seeking formal independence. CNBC writes, China kicks off military drills near Taiwan, warns islands independence.
Well, why wouldn't they? They see that Russia does whatever it want to do. The shit. They see we got a whole fool over here, and they finna do whatever the fuck they want to do. And he gonna stay his silly ass out of the way. Talking about he was upset with Putin because Putin didn't come to the table on the ceasefire agreement. There was no agreement. And then you did a bait and switch with Zelensky, trying to take more and trying to take things that he had already told you he wouldn't agree on. But when he agreed to the ceasefire, you let Putin continue to pummel him. Now you don't trust Putin. Let's continue because I got one more last thing after this one. I promise this will be the last thing.
Independence means war. You see right here, these are some of the images of China's Shandong carrier spotted in the distance by the Taiwanese Navy ships. When Donald Trump showed weakness in the Oval Office and attacked Zelensky, when Donald Trump was clearly showing that he could not manage what was going on with Russia's unlawful invasion, China saw that as weakness. Putin saw that as weakness. By the way, our European allies, who Donald Trump doesn't want to be our allies and has pushed them away, they saw weakness. Canada saw weakness. Australia, New Zealand saw weakness. And so the entire geopolitical power structure has changed dramatically. America is isolated and alone. Do you think that our allies, or I guess based on Donald Trump, our former allies, are sharing intelligence now with the United States? When we learn more stories about Mike Walls and Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump's national security advisor and Donald Trump's defense secretary, who were on that group text thread where they invited the editor-in-chief from The Atlantic, where they were discussing their war plans, where they accidentally invited a...
Come to find out that Mike Walls has been in many, that he was the one who initiated that group chat. Come to find out that he has had many of those texts on Signal, you know, the app, so they cannot archive what's going on in this administration. Seems like that is his little fun way to talk shit that he don't want to have archived and take accountability for. And also, the idiot was using his Gmail account. Now, of all things that was insecure, he's using his Gmail account. Let me
reporter. And they said, oh, those war plans aren't classified, even though we talk about F-18s and specific strike times in Yemen, even though we are talking about specific drones that we're using. And when we're using them, oh, those aren't war plans. Case closed. That's what the Trump regime says. Case closed. We're not talking about it anymore. Well, now we learned that Mike Waltz.
Okay. Mike Waltz. Let me see. I forgot his title. He is the National Security Advisor. Now they want to just go on. That's what that lying spokesperson was saying. We have moved on. They don't want to talk about this. We have moved on. When all of these people, the Vice President, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of the Treasury, I don't know why he was there, National Security Advisor, the CIA Director, what is he? National Security. I can't read what Brian McCormick is. Stephen Miller. I can't read his title. Susie Waltz. She is the White House Chief of Staff. Steve Wilkoff, Special Envoy to. I can't read his title. And Tulsi Gabbard. What is her title? Director of National Intelligence. All of them were on this account that could have been easily hacked. That also had a reporter on it that none of these people noticed. Are you secure? So let's, I just wanted us to know who Waltz is. Waltz is National Security Advisor, the one who initiated the call, who they have now found out has had many more calls on this unsecure app talking about confidential information. He still has a job. Let me remove this picture. He still has a job right now. Still has a job. Okay, let's finish this.
It anymore. Well, now we learned that Mike Waltz, the National Security Advisor, and his staff, they've been using Gmail for government communications. This breaking from the Washington Post yesterday. Mike Waltz and other members of Trump's National Security Council conducted their government business over personal Gmail accounts, where they held conversations about highly sensitive information, including about military positions, powerful weapon systems, and more. By the way, let me share this with you as well. This from France 24, where they're talking about the Chinese warship planes surrounding the self-determining island of Taiwan. Just watch how the international media is covering what's going on. And just notice that, did you hear any response from Donald Trump? By the way, have you heard Donald Trump on his own, without being asked a question from the media, talk about the 4 American soldiers who died in Lithuania? Have you heard Donald Trump talk about that at all? Express sympathy, express compassion? I know he's incapable of that. Anyway, let me play this clip for you. Let's play it.
Hold on. I apologize.
Rounded the island of Taiwan Tuesday in a blatant show. Chinese warships, troops, and planes surrounded the island of Taiwan Tuesday in a blatant show of military force.
The drill focuses on exercises on sea and air combat patrols, seizing control, sea and land strikes, and blocking key areas and roads to test the combat capabilities of our troops. This is a severe warning and forceful containment against the Taiwan Independent Separatist Forces.
I want to tell you about our next sponsor, Stop
Hold on.
Box.
But this is another commercial.
And readiness with Stopbox. Turning to the statesmanship of President Zelensky, and Zelensky realizing the power and strength that he always had the power and strength, but now recognizing the weakness of Donald Trump, forging ahead and strengthening the alliances that Ukraine has with its reliable and unwavering allies like Germany. I'm going to read you this language from Zelensky. You can see here what's going on in Europe right now, as we previously reported. Like last week, there was that meeting held in France amongst the coalition of the willing. Of course, the United States was not there. European countries and others who were there to support Ukraine and make it very clear that they would not be allowing Donald Trump and Putin to engage in a bilateral discussion to carve up Ukraine or give minerals away to Donald Trump or whatever without Europe.
Now, I played that for you guys on yesterday. If you missed my show on yesterday, you could hear Zelensky saying that Putin is going to be dead soon. They say there are rumors that he has health issues. So, I played for you the EU saying that they are going to support Zelensky. Go check out my video yesterday if you missed it.
And Ukraine being involved. Here's what Zelensky posted yesterday. I held a meeting with the German foreign minister. We discussed further support for our state, the path to a dignified peace, and the development of security guarantee formats. Germany is a leader in Europe in the scale of assistance provided to Ukraine, from financial aid and weapons to strengthening our air defense. This includes, and it talks about the weapon system, we are grateful to Germany for the decision to provide an additional €3 billion to Ukraine. In total, German support this year will be €7 billion. We are grateful that German support for Ukraine remains unwavering and stable. We thank Germany, its government, and all the German people for their significant assistance. I just want to show you this interaction between President Zelensky and the outgoing German foreign minister, because this is how diplomatic relations among allies is supposed to go down. This is what mutual respect looks like. President Zelensky acknowledging the incredible support provided by Germany, Germany recognizing that Zelensky is a wartime president, defending, frankly, not just Ukraine, but all of Europe from Vladimir Putin, and also making it very clear that even though the foreign minister of Germany is part of the outgoing government, that the new government will have the same continuity of support for Ukraine, and that will be unwavering. This is how it's supposed to look. So when you see this clown show of what Donald Trump does with his pressers every day, this is how it's supposed to look here with what you're about to see with Zelensky and German's foreign minister. I want you to watch this.
Welcome. So thank you very much for such big support, such big attention, your attention to Ukrainian people. We're thankful to you, Germany, your government, and of course to all your people. Such significant support, very big. First of all, military support from the very beginning of war. Then, of course, air defense. You know that this always been, especially 3 times during winters, it was a big challenge for us. Thank you so much. And we count on continuation. Yes, I had to say it. Yes, but we are thankful for everything what's been done before. And your humanitarian support, and that decision, the last one, decision of unblock 3 billion euros, really huge investment to our strengthen of our army and of our people for our nation. And you did a lot. I cannot stop. That's why. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you very much. And thank you also for receiving me all these times, and especially now. And as you know, we had our elections in Germany. So this is also farewell. But it was important for me to be here also in these challenging times to underline that the outgoing government and the incoming government will continue to gather the pathway of the support for Ukraine, because as we have said all these years, but even more intensively right now, Ukraine is defending European security, European peace. So the continued support is an investment in our own security. And therefore, the 3 billions in addition, amounting to 7 billions for 2025. But even more important, our constitutional change to enable that we have 500 billions for the next year, which is also open to support of European defense and the support of Ukraine, underlining that we are staying and standing with Ukraine as long as it takes, and that we can win peace only through strength altogether. And therefore, this is farewell, but also a continuation of Germany's support in the upcoming government for the just peace, but also for EU membership, because this is also, I think, the pathway we have walked together in the last years, that Ukraine belongs to the European Union, and we will walk this path also together in the future.
Okay, so now, do you remember when he came to the United States? They tried to tell him that no, that the money that we gave you, you have to pay us back. We're telling you now. We understand that we are all a part of the G7, but no, Biden didn't tell you you had to pay this back. But the first thing that 4547 told him that they have to repay the money back. When they did not give them money, they gave them weapons and vehicles and planes. And Donald Trump put a price tag on it. So that's why on the video I played for you yesterday, Zelensky flat out said that no, we do not accept that we need to repay any money back. But if you want to continue to help us and you want to put those conditions on us, I understand you want conditions, but those conditions will be on any help that you give us now. So let's be clear that Congress has been doing no work. So all of the money that they got this year was already approved while Biden was still in office. So he's trying to say how much we gave him this year. They didn't approve this money this year. Okay, so while he's let's see what Putin's up to. Y'all heard a little bit about what Putin's up to. This is my last video. Let's see what Putin's up to. Let's, he told Zelensky it seems like he wanted to continue the war. But as they're sitting in the White House, Zelensky and 4547 talking about this, and they're berating him during an alleged ceasefire. While they're sitting in the White House, Putin was pummeling the Ukraine with weapons. Did y'all hear any disappointment about that? And they sat up there and chastised him like he was a child and said that he seems like he wants to continue this war. Okay, let's continue. Let's see what Putin's up to. If you're not a member of this channel, it's in the description box. It is my last link that I have in the description box. Let's listen.
Despite claiming he could end the Ukraine war in just 24 hours, the Kremlin has dismissed Donald Trump's latest US peace proposals as unacceptable, underscoring the limited progress he has made in fulfilling his pledge to end the war since taking office in January. Sergei Ryabkov, a senior foreign policy advisor to Vladimir Putin, stated that key Russian demands were not being addressed in the US proposals, acknowledging for the first time that negotiations between Moscow and Washington over Ukraine have stalled in recent weeks, contrary to what Donald Trump has claimed is progress. We take the models and solutions proposed by the Americans very seriously, but we cannot accept them in their current form, Ryabkov told the Russian magazine International Affairs, according to state media reports. His remarks followed Trump's Sunday statement expressing frustration with Putin, saying he was pissed off and warning of potential tariffs on Russian oil exports. Ryabkov noted
I'm glad I made sure my mic. Russia don't give a fuck about you putting no sanctions on his oil. When Biden put sanctions on Russia, what did Russia do? Russia is part of the BRICS. You know, the BRICS that you don't know, China is also a part of, BRIC. The C is for China. Russia has been selling its oil to China. They're partnerships in trade, dummy. But I don't even know if China's in the BRICS, and the BRICS, they better not try to devalue the dollar. No, you're devaluing the dollar. You didn't give. Now Putin sat up there and wasted everybody's time as he continued to do whatever the fuck he wanted to do, while you sitting up there talking about you're negotiating, and you're who looked like the fool? Now he looked like the bigger fool than he tried to make Zelensky look like. Who look like the fool now? You went against all of our allies from China, from Mexico to Canada, and all of the G7. And now who look like the fool? I'm curious. That's just my opinion. All fool. Putin says no to Trump's ceasefire proposal in the Ukraine. But I thought it was Zelensky who wanted to keep fighting. You telling him this as he's being pummeled in this alleged ceasefire that they were supposed to be under when he was visiting you, and he was being pummeled. Let's continue.
Noted that discussions had focused primarily on establishing a framework for a ceasefire, but said Russia's fundamental concerns remained unaddressed. As it stands, the proposals fail to include our primary requirement, which is to resolve the underlying causes of this conflict, he said. Putin has long argued that addressing these so-called root causes is essential for any lasting resolution, using the stance to justify his firm position on a potential settlement. As preconditions for a ceasefire, the Russian dictator has set terms that would significantly weaken Ukraine's sovereignty and align it more closely with Moscow's influence. His demands include Kiev's recognition of Russia's annexation of Crimea and 4 partly occupied regions in the southeast, the withdrawal of Ukrainian forces from those areas, a pledge to forego NATO membership, and a commitment to demilitarization. In recent weeks, Putin has also ramped up calls for regime change in Ukraine, questioning Zelensky's legitimacy and suggesting that Ukraine should be placed under external governance. Trump, meanwhile, who has become increasingly frustrated with both Russian and Ukrainian leaders, as they are exposing him as not the great deal maker as he claimed after his efforts to negotiate a truce have stalled. His remark about being pissed off at Putin over ceasefire talks marks a shift in tone for Trump, who's previously spoken favorably of the Russian president. However, by Monday, Trump had softened his rhetoric, instead accusing Ukraine of attempting to renegotiate an economic agreement with the US. By this morning, the White House stated that Trump's frustrations extended to leaders on both sides of the conflict. Despite multiple U.S.-led...
Why? Because Zelensky told you you ain't getting any minerals? Why? Because you're disappointing the one percenters who were at your inauguration who needs those raw earth minerals to keep their companies alive? Why did you? Maybe you had promised them to the muskrat. I'm sure that he needs a lot of raw earth minerals to charge and make these batteries that he's using to do these rockets in his cars and all of these electric vehicles and robots and all of this. I'm pretty sure he needs that. And but it's curious that the billions that he's getting from the Pentagon for his corporate welfare isn't covering this. Anyway, let me.
Diplomatic meetings and discussions in Saudi Arabia that resulted in a nominal 30-day energy ceasefire, whatever that means. Both Russia and Ukraine have continued to target each other's energy infrastructure. Additionally, the Trump regime attempted to negotiate a ceasefire in the Black Sea, but Russia insisted on conditions, including the easing of European sanctions, an immediate deal breaker for Brussels. It seems little progress has been made, and these negotiations could possibly extend into next year. Despite the setbacks, Trump's team insists it remains committed to brokering peace, with Trump saying,
but he has no capability. Okay, the link is in the description box. Go finish the rest of it. I cannot play his whole thing. I was just intrigued because I hadn't heard, I had only heard the beginning of it. One more thing. Now, one more thing. I swear, this is the last one. Now, you know, I like this channel, Couch Politics. He has this thing where he plays what is her name? I was trying to say Abby Miller. Abby, you guys know who I'm talking about. Oh, I got Abby Miller on the brain. He plays her show, Abby Phillip show all the time. Now, from the gist of this, I think that they are talking about, I told you that, what is this dude's name? Netanyahu came out yesterday and basically said his plan for Gaza is basically in lockstep with what 4547 said. And we know 4547 said that they should remove all the people from Gaza because it's great waterfront property and they can turn it into a modern luxury resort type of place where everybody would want to go, and you can't do anything with it now, and the people will have to go for construction. They can't stay there, and it'll be open for everybody. And they say even the Palestinians, and no. Okay, so he wanted to open it to everybody. Okay. He even shared that video that they had the golden Trump statues and had him and Netanyahu sitting by the pool drinking, that had big Trump buildings. He shared that. He shared that AI video. He didn't share the one where he was sucking on the AI video where he was sucking on Elon's toes, however, but he shared the Gaza one. Okay, so I think they're talking about this again, because that would be why this is in the news again, because look at me. I'm saying all of that and I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. From the one little bit of this clip, I think this is what they're talking about. And this bald head motherfucker right here, a New York City cop, I cannot stand him. I cannot stand him. He always wants to talk over everybody, loudly over everybody as other people are talking. He wants to be the only voice, and when he's caught looking like a fool, he comes back with a corny ass joke like the stuff he is saying is funny. and he's talking about some real serious stuff. They're talking about ethnic cleansing in Gaza. So let's check this out. Magna pundit accidentally exposes his sick views in a heated debate. Couch Politics, if you haven't gone over there and watched him or subscribed to him, you may want to check out some of his videos. He started doing Abby Phillip videos every now and again, but now I think he's found his niche. Okay. Hold on, let me slow this down because it's a lot of over talking sometimes.
Sometimes when you have to clean out the garage or the shed, you take everything out and then you say, okay, we don't need all of this, and we need it. It's become a garage, but it has Elon Musk is the human being on the planet Earth that figured out how to rescue 2 people up in space. He did it, not NASA. It does. It has to do with something.
I don't think we should.
Okay, he figured it out, and he got paid to do it. So what we supposed to do? What we supposed to do? Did he not get a contract to do exactly that? So what the fuck? Why the guy who cleaned the toilet scrubbed the toilet? So he's supposed to get extra. Y'all ain't paying this man. The electrician got the power back on. The electrician put some more new sockets in the ceiling. So he's supposed to get a parade, or did y'all pay him to do his job? Let's continue.
Should compare firing veterans from the VA to cleaning out the garage.
What
I think
about
that's
cleaning out
really
the Treasury Department?
gross.
What about cleaning out the
These
Treasury
are
Department?
people, and like Christian,
For you and your family?
no one's arguing with that.
Nobody's arguing. He is arguing with it.
No
He is
one's
arguing.
arguing with
He
that.
is arguing
But
with
there
it right
isn't.
now.
Hello, everybody. Guys, let's get right into this panel. This segment reminds me of what the great Roland Martin said: America was going to get what it deserves. This is incredible. Check this out, and we'll talk about it.
I do want you to listen to someone who was a full-on supporter of Donald Trump and has wobbled. Listen.
So today's the day. I've got my RTA mock
Not
system
you.
and Coyote.
Not you. You bragging about grills. Let me see.
What would you say? You could say anything to President Trump.
And has wobbled. Listen.
If you could say anything to President Trump now, what would you say?
I expected better from you. I really did. I expected that you
expected that he would only affect people who you thumb your nose down on. You didn't think that it was going to happen to you. You expected better. What better did he offer on the campaign trail? That's curious about her expecting better. It was better. That's curious that she thought that what he was offering was better for anybody. It's just better for me as long as I get mine. No humanity. And I was totally wrong. I heard them talking about you got to clean out the garage to make room for the new stuff. So I just assumed that they were talking about Gaza, and I was totally wrong. But let's continue.
would do what was right and cut waste and fraud and all of those things that you promised us before we elected you in office, but you're not doing that. You're creating a disaster, and I don't know what America is going to look like if this continues.
Now, this is a person who considered herself what she called a MAGA junkie. She was just let go from the Department of the Treasury in Elon Musk's and Doge's purge of many of these places. What do you say to her? If you are in Trump world, what do you say to this woman?
It's very.
I just have to say, I have zero sympathy for her. She's a MAGA junkie, and she expected better from Donald Trump. Really, all the cruelty
I'm saying that's the same thing that I'm saying. Like, bitch, excuse me? How do you, let me let him finish his sentence.
And disgusting bigotry and racism, misogyny coming out from that man in that campaign.
Exactly. But she expected better. Bitch, bye. Yeah.
From the left are the enemy of the people, immigrants poisoning the blood of the nation. Haitians are eating cats and dogs. She was okay with all this disgusting garbage. Kamala isn't black, calling her a DEI pig.
And she ate it up. Called herself a Trump junkie. Well, you got what you deserve. You got what your hand called for.
Because it's just a new Republican's new favorite way to say the N-word. Completely okay with the misogyny about how Kamala somehow slept her way to the top. Just disgusting garbage. And people like her were completely okay with people being treated as subhuman, as long as it wasn't her. Now she's finding out that to them, you're also a DEI hire.
Similar to.
She didn't know that being a woman is a part of the DEI agenda. And but she fucked around and found out.
Similar to big hotel chains that bring someone in like an Elon Musk and say, you know what? We don't need this cashier anymore. We don't need this person to make the beds anymore because now I have a computer that can do this and a robot can do that. And my job is to make the Marriott Marquis or the Hilton or the Hyatt more money.
Okay, so where are these robots that are making bed? And how much would these robots that make bed cost? Are you renting them so you're paying them a salary? You're fixing them? What the fuck are you talking about? Robots that make beds. Listen, we cannot have a serious conversation if you're talking nonsense. You know, I can't have a serious conversation with people who say, I don't care if they black, white, yellow, green, polka dot. I can't, the conversation is not serious at that point because there are no yellow, green, or polka dot people. If we're going to have a conversation, let's converse on what we're talking about. I'll continue. I'm gonna quit interrupting.
That's my job. And unfortunately, you can't, your job has been eliminated and your job has been eliminated.
Do you actually
we
think
don't need 10 people to do what now with computers and AI and technology, 2 people could do.
Okay, do you actually think that they have put AI and robots at the Treasury Department right now? Because the issue is not being careful with who is going. It's doing it.
Now look at you. Now look at you. Do you think that they have computers doing all of these jobs that they have taken away from people? How do you think this is going to impact the country? You don't care. You're a do-boy. When they start knocking you over your head because they ain't got no job and they want what you got, then you're going to understand. Let's continue. I'm not going to stop no more, I promise.
Like a blast and then saying, whoa, we've got to hire you back because, you have the nuclear codes.
Okay.
So that's not how Marriott does it. That is not how these different things do it.
I would beg to differ only because of some cases that I have. However, sometimes when
and he always deferred to, have you been a lawyer? I have seen these people. He's a prosecutor. He always defer back to, you don't know because I'm an attorney.
Sorry, I work in finance. Companies don't do that. When they're doing cuts, they don't just rip out the whole department and start new. Of course not. Like, this guy's just an effing liar.
you have to clean out the garage or the shed, you take everything out. And then you say, okay, we don't need all of this, and we need it. But it's become a garage. But it has. There is so much waste, and we all know. And then find out what happened after we do it. There is so much. Okay, if they call her tomorrow, if they call her Sunday morning and say you have your job back, is she not going to go back to work? You think she's got a job for Amazon?
So much.
You notice that he always take up all the space in the room, and he can't let anyone get a thought out without interjecting after every word that they say, and everybody had to defer to his leading conversation. You said what you said, and let other people say what they have to say. And Tariq is such a motherfucking punk ass motherfucker that he don't demand his respect to speak what he's going to say. I am so sick of him.
More money to do it that way. I'm not arguing with you about fraud and waste. I think most Americans would agree with you that we want to eliminate it, finally, somehow, some way. But then you come in with a whiteboard. You come in with consultants who know how to do this kind of stuff. You mark down with the people who lead a particular agency.
I know
and you say,
no one
where
is
can we
committing
cut?
more fraud than Elon Musk. Elon Musk should not be profiting billions of dollars from the administration. But if Doge was serious, Doge would investigate Elon Musk.
Gretchen, Elon Musk is the human being on the planet Earth that figured out how to rescue 2 people up in space. He did it.
That has
Not
nothing to do
NASA.
with Doge.
It does. It has to do with someone's intellect. It has to do with their executive functioning skills. It has to do.
No, it has nothing to do with his personal intellect. It has to do with the intellect of the people he hired from the company he did not create, but he also purchased. Are you serious with this bullshit?
Do with their ability. It has to do with their ability to get things done. He sent people to space.
His ability to get things done. How many of those rockets have exploded before he had the ability to get things done? None of the trash of these exploded rockets that he ever cleaned up in the environment, I should also add.
To save 2 human beings.
And it wasn't 2 human beings. I think it was 7. I think it was at least 5. I know it was at least 5. So then again, he does not know what the fuck he's talking about.
Essie.
I just
This is unbelievable. These Republicans really believe Elon Musk is Iron Man, and that he sat in the garage for months and months, hiding and developing this amazing technology. Again, he's the richest man in the world who hired actual geniuses to do that. Like, these people are absolutely insane. Elon Musk spends a bunch of his day playing video games. Are we really to think that he's building the new innovative technology to bring people back from space? Like,
and let's not forget that Elon Musk also lied about his video game expertise. Actually, totally lied about it. So, hey, oh, I saw all of you guys. So I'm going to drop this link in the chat because I pulled that up. This was an afterthought link. So I'm going to let you guys watch the remainder of that. Go over there to his channel and check him out. I really like his content. So thank you all for coming. I appreciate you guys so much. Let's give Cory Booker another round of applause for his 25 hours and what did Emory Nay say? Or somebody told me 25 hours and 15 minutes of filibustering in the House, beating Strom Thurmond's record, who stood up there for 24 hours and a couple of minutes fighting the Civil Rights Act. Fortunately, Cory Booker was up there fighting for the idea of America that they say that America is supposed to be, the shining beacon on the hill or whatever, shining beacon somewhere. The bullshit that they try to tell us that America is. And he stood up there at a time, ironically, when our current administration wants to take us back to where Strom Thurmond was trying to keep us in the first place. So bravo, Cory Booker. If you haven't watched parts of Cory Booker, I think that you guys would enjoy that. Renee, bravo, bravo. And I hope you guys have a great remainder of your day. Hey, Miss Queenie. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you being in the clouds listening. Have a good day, everyone. That's it for me. And I may see you on the YouTube streets. Oh, don't forget, we're going to be putting together this bench. This is a DIY project. The supply list is on my community wall. I'm going to talk more in depth. It's a very simple project. It's a little plant stand. You need 3 pieces of 2x1 lumber, 2 inches wide, 1 inch high, 8 feet long. In my area, that lumber costs $1.75 a piece. So that's what $5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, $4.75. So it's very inexpensive. You need some primer. You can use the aerosol primer. You can paint it any color you want, and you're gonna need some stain to stain the seat and the armrest. If you don't want to use stain, you can get a little thing of that antique wax. It stains just as well. And I always put a top coat on mine because I use mine outside. So it's very easy. And you're gonna need some nails, and you're gonna need a drill. Very, very simple project. And you're going to need 3 packs of those large paint stick stirrers. Those are the pickets in the back. A very, very simple project. Unintimidating. I hope you guys join me. I'm going to be doing now. I know Just Read My Book is going to be doing her crafting project. She said the middle of May. I tentatively have my project set for May 18th. That is a Friday. Don't pre-paint. You can pre-stain. Now, in the supply list, you can buy your long 8-foot boards at Home Depot, or I know Home Depot for sure. You can then take your supply list over to the cut section. It tells you it has a cut list of how you need to cut the 1x8 boards, 1x2 boards, and go over there and get all your pieces cut. If you think like, oh, wait a minute, who gonna cut all these 8-foot boards? Home Depot will cut them for free. So go over there, and if you're interested, it's a very easy project. You will be amazed that you will be so proud of yourself, and it is so cute and it's so simple. If you can drill a hole and drill a screw, hey, that's it. Pre-drill your hole and then put the screw in. That's all. It's not intimidating at all. It's very easy. They will do all the cutting of your wood. Take your supply sheet over there and get you 3 pieces of $1.75. Oh, wait a minute. Is it $1.75 or $1.20? $1.75 wood. So that's like $5 and something. $5.25, I believe. Okay. And join us. I will keep you updated. Also, I sand my wood personally. You do not have to sand the wood. And I also put a top coat on my wood because it's outside. I use a spray top coat. You can use a paint on top coat. It's a fun project, and it looks so beautiful outdoors. So I hope you guys join me. I'm still recovering from my stomach bug I caught from my daughter. I'll be able to keep food in my stomach. I'm able to keep food on my stomach, and the fever. Oh, you had a fever too? I'm glad you're feeling better. Hey, lovely one. Thank you for being here. I hope your daughter's feeling better as well. She said, thanks, me too. I didn't know you had a fever. I heard you say you had a bug. Ronnie Q, me and you may have to go throw Orange Man out of the White House ourselves. Yes, we may. Strictly Platinum, always a pleasure to see you in the chat. And I appreciate your support. So, yeah, that's it for me. And I'll see you guys on the YouTube streets. I hope you have a great remainder of your day. And thank you for being here. All right, I'm out of here.
They are rare and they are few who can compare with Ronnie Q. So grab a chair, she's coming through. She's on the air. It's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie in the morning while I'm driving. Ronnie Q. I really come alive when it's time for Ronnie Q. I listen to my Ronnie. Ronnie Q. I listen to my Ronnie. It's time for Ronnie Q. Take a seat and go meet Ronnie. Sweet, 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 sweet Ronnie. No day complete without my Ronnie. She can't be beat. Sweet, sweet.